I really hate Streamlabs right now because for whatever reason, the intro did not play. You couldn't hear the audio of the intro, so I don't know what the hell's going on. I got to figure it out. But damn it, we're live. It's Wednesday. It's BRAP time. It's for the love of video games, and got some amazing guests this evening. Got a returning guest, somebody who I refer to as my Latino brother out west. We got Dark Optimus in the house. Dark, what is going on? Welcome back to BRAP.
Not much, man. Happy to be here. Your late night booty call, as always.
Oh boy.
When BRAP is down a man,
Oh boy.
he just calls me up, and I'm just like, all right, I guess.
Autobots, roll out. That's what I do. Yeah. No, man, I appreciate you. Answering the call, if you will, man. It's always a pleasure, man. It really is. It's always a pleasure. And we also have a returning guest. Now, I had his podcast mate from What's Up PlayStation on last week. If you guys recall, we had Gaming with Persona on, who's in the live chat. We have returning guests, and I can smell that fragrance, that greatness in the air that only exudes from PlayStation. We have Jay Barry. What's up, Jay Barry?
Yo, what is good, guys, man? Definitely appreciate the invite, Enrique, man. It's been a while since I've been on here on BRAP, but the topics are looking good. I'm looking good.
Oh,
I'm smelling good.
Okay.
The PlayStation fragrance is here. It is all over the screen. I'm spraying it as I speak. Because I got the best lisp on YouTube. What is good, man?
Oh man, I love that. And yeah, look, man, I gotta say, things are looking good on the PlayStation side. I can't deny that. A lot of people are like, Sony's quiet. I get it. Yeah, we'd like to hear some things from Sony, but outside of that, I mean, I gotta say, things are looking pretty on the up and up. In terms of PlayStation 5. So I know if I say that, people will be like, "Oh, perhaps just a pony." He just, no. I'm not. I'm not part of Pegasus Nation or whatever that's called. Big shout out to Optimus Code and I guess everyone who's part of Pegasus Nation. But anyhow, no, we do have some great topics tonight. I want to give a big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Please hit that like button. And if you could do me a solid and retweet the link as well, definitely appreciate it. But yeah, we definitely have some great topics tonight. We are going to be discussing Game Pass, because Game Pass is a hot topic these days. Is Game Pass really hurting games? We're going to discuss Epic Games steals Among Us, and a new AAA game looks amazing on PlayStation 5, according to an insider. We'll talk about that. We'll also have some other topics built in that we'll get to. I want to give a big shout out to Gaming with Persona with the $2 super chat. This is big shout out to my boy Jay Barry. Thank you for that super chat, sir. I really appreciate it. I do want to go to, give me just a sec here, gentlemen. I do want to talk about Tales of Arise real quick.
Yes, sir.
Because that demo came out. I saw you streaming it earlier, Jay Barry. And
Yes, sir,
I only got to play a couple minutes of it because I got interrupted by the kids. But from what I played, day one, man. Day one for me. So, Barry, what are your thoughts, man? What'd you think of the game? Or the demo, I should say.
I'm loving the demo, man. I told myself I wasn't going to play the demo because I just wanted to experience everything once the game reaches, and I didn't want any like spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
But I just had to feel the combat. I had to see what they added new to it because I've been watching all the videos, the trailers and whatnot, and I was just too curious to like I got to try this out. And yeah, that was my main goal for the demo. It wasn't like to get any story beats or nothing like that. It was just pretty much to learn the combat, and it's super good. Tales, in my opinion, the Tales series always had like a cool combat, but it's a little bit limited with your with your arts, because they had the soul gauge that's linked to your arts, and
Yep.
you pretty much will combo with just using arts. But now they added a basic attack to the game, which you can mix that within your arts, and then you can switch your character up and all that stuff. Then they have this new thing called boosting attack. It's so good, man. It is super super good, man. And I really want a lot of people just to go and support it. You know what I mean? It's coming out on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. I think a lot of people that haven't played Tales, the Tales series, it is one of those JRPGs that it's very engaging. It will grab you very quickly, like get your attention really quickly, because the pacing is always well paced, just due to the characters and the dialogue that always happens. There's always a dialogue constantly happen within it. They don't force you within the dialogue. There's times where you have to press like the R1 button or the triangle button just to see a skit that's going on between the party. But it's so good because it just builds character for those individual party members in the game, and that stuff is still there. You know, they added like a camp setting, like kind of like Final Fantasy 15 now, where you can get more dialogue and you can cook from there and all that stuff. So yeah, man, I think a lot of people that don't really play a JRPG so much definitely should try this one out. It's super fun, super engaging, and I legit can't wait to play this. September is just it's Tales month for me personally.
I'll tell you what, Barry. I've liked the previous Tales games. This one, from what I've played so far, is probably the most excited I've been about a Tales game in quite some time. The game looks really good, by the way. Like I immediately see, like I went back and I looked at like Tales of, what was the last Tales game? Was it
Tales of Berseria?
Berseria, yeah.
Berseria, yeah. That was like my favorite Tales. It's still my favorite Tales game. Until we gotta see how Arise is, but Berseria, I love that game, and it ties in with Zestiria as well. So if you play Zestiria, it's in the same world of Berseria. So it's more like a prequel to Zestiria, but it's definitely a great franchise, and that game is fun too. And the combat was the best. It was the best yet in Berseria, in my opinion. But Arise just took the cake now,
bro. That's what I was thinking. I was like, yes, I would agree with you, Jay. I'm excited. I'm really excited for this game. I'm glad they put out the demo, because hopefully, like you said, I hope a lot of people try it out. I really hope a lot of people try it out. I think this is going to be a really good game. It's also on not just PlayStation, it's on Xbox as well. As a matter of fact, Tales of, God, I can't remember now. There's a Tales game, the remake of
Vesperia.
Vesperia, thank you.
Yeah.
That's on Game Pass right now. So if you're interested in trying out the Tales game, now again, it doesn't look anything like this game, but it's on there right now. If you're interested in trying out the Tales, if you have an Xbox, definitely try it out. It's on Game Pass. It's free. It's on Game Pass. That being said, real quick, I want to make a quick introduction. We got my man, One Bad Mother. What's up, OBM?
I'm good, man. How's it going? I see that you're short a few people, so I just thought I'd crash the party. See what nonsense you guys are up to.
Oh, well,
how's everybody doing tonight?
Well, I'm going to be messy tonight.
Oh, son of a bitch! All right.
That's because Jay Barry's here. Jay Barry's here.
Okay, I'm out of here.
That fragrance is. That fragrance
I don't got time for that. No, I just got done playing. Just got done doing my 10th run in Hades, and
it's hilarious. I love it.
10 credits. So.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, that's when you were reaching out. That's what I was finishing up the cutscenes. I'd say that's probably one of the best games I played in the last generation or so.
Amazing. It's a great game. Hey, and I'm only getting messy, OBM, because
you guys still there? I cannot hear you.
Yeah, we're still here. What happened?
Hello.
I can hear him.
The Pegasus Nation is after him right now because he's secretly slandering them.
I have.
We can hear you, OBM.
Oh, there we are. I
what happened?
You know what? That was user error on my part. Sorry about that.
No worries.
But anyways, yeah, I was just talking to myself, and then I'm like, everybody's really quiet, and I just realized I muted myself. So I do apologize about that. But yeah, worries, so that's what I was doing, and And definitely, if people haven't checked out Hades yet, even if you haven't tried roguelikes, I suggest if you're ever going to give one a try, give that one a try.
Yeah, no, it's a great game, man. It really is. I love it. But I was gonna tell you, Obi, I'm gonna be a little messy today because that fragrance is intoxicating, and Jay Barry's in the house. So
Oh Jesus! All right. Well, I guess I'm here to try to keep the shit from going. trying to keep this thing from going way off the cliff.
But Barry, we got to send him a box of fragrance, man.
Yeah, he definitely needs one because he's just stuck in that Xbox stench too badly. You know what I mean?
No, I lather up. Yeah, I told Enrique already. I lather up in that GamePass soap every day, and I don't feel like changing it. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care how it smells to anybody else, man. I'm good.
Oh my! All right, we're gonna get a super chat from Damien with the $2 super chat. Says, "Shout out to my big boy Jay Barry. Salute, fam. Thank you for that super chat."
Yes, sir.
But yeah, but no, Tales is I think it's gonna be a great game. Anyone else on the panel try the demo today?
Yeah, I did.
Go ahead, Audimus. What are your thoughts, man? Day one.
I love it, man. I love the Tales series, so I'm like day one for this one. I think it's gonna be better than Berseria. I mean, I know that's Jay Barry's favorite. I do love Berseria though. I mean, it was a really good game. I like where they went with that one because in that one it felt more mature and darker.
Definitely darker.
And
That's a great point, actually,
you basically play a villain in that game, even though you're not really. But yeah, that game was awesome. Actually, I was playing that a couple weeks ago, somewhere around there. So I was just going in just to kind of refresh myself for a Tales game. But yeah, this one feels different. This one feels similar, but different in the terms of like the combat feels a lot more smooth.
I was about to say that. Like it felt like more fluid per se.
Yeah, feels more fluid. It feels a little bit more mainstream.
That's
If
yeah.
you want to
I would
go
agree with
if
that.
you want to go that way, which is good for people who haven't played the Tale series. So this is like a good starter for a lot of people. I would say if you want to start with the Tale series, definitely start with this one, and then if you get into it and you love it, then maybe go back and play the other ones. Just to experience how those games played out, because the Tales series has had some of the most epic stories, like in gaming, like in any RPG out there. Like some of those stories are just like holy shit. Um, they seem like a lot of people think that they're like they see the cartoony characters and they think, oh well, it's probably just this stupid anime type of game, and it's really not. It's really not. And plus, also like with the Tales games, like they've always been more action based than they ever have been turn based. Like they've never. I don't think I've ever seen one that was turn based. There might have been. I think there was one, but there was on like a handheld device. I can't remember which one it was.
Was it
But
the 3DS? Maybe I thought no.
it might have been the 3DS,
I don't
or it might have
remember.
been the Advance. The Advance.
Mhm.
I can't remember, but yeah, this game looks amazing. Like I put it on the graphics mode just to see what it looks like. It looks okay, but that 30 frames, man. You play on 60 for so long, and you go back to that 30 frames, and it's like it's almost unplayable for me personally.
It's
Like
hard to go there.
I just can't go back to that 30 frames per second. Like any game that's gonna do that, I'm like, okay, well, I'll take a hit in resolution over frame rate. Especially now. I wasn't like that last generation because I mean, I guess I didn't really notice it. But now with the way that TVs are and the way that games are running, uh, 60 frames is just like the sweet spot, for console gaming at least. Um, I know you PCMR guys, you guys like that 120, 140 uncapped, frame rates. So
I'm sorry. What's wrong with PC, man? Why?
oh, nothing,
Why?
nothing,
I don't
man.
say. Why all the
nothing.
slander? Why all the slander?
Nothing. No, I'm not slandering. I'm just
PC's
saying you guys like, you're uncapped.
Let me tell you something. Everything is birthed from PC.
That is true. Yeah,
It comes from the loins.
the games are made on a PC.
Thank you. Think about this. Hey, think about this for a second.
Console.
But think about this. NVMe N.2. Where did that come from? PC.
Oh, that came from PC. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying you guys like your uncapped. I don't know that experience. I've never experienced that with games because I don't have a PC. I mean, I do have a PC that can, I just use it for podcasting and doing the stuff that I do with it.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm playing games on it. I've just never been that type of person.
Yeah,
I
hear you, man.
Because I'm in front of a computer almost the entire day, like almost the entire day. But
yeah, no, I hear you.
Come home and be in front of a computer, no. But yeah, to get back on Tales, damn, dude. Like, I mean, just playing the demo, I was like gonna be like Bari and not even play it, but I was like, no, I better play it because because you know how some Tales games, they're really good, and there's some that are like meh, you're like meh, it was okay, it wasn't the best.
Like
but this one
Hysteria is
definitely-
okay.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like Hysteria is meh, but Visaria, the prequel to it, was 10 times better. So yeah, with this one, it definitely day one probably gonna get that $109 version of the game because that freaking I gotta have all the DLC and all that shit with it too.
Wait,
So
there's
I'm
$109.
probably-
All
There's
the
a-
costumes
Yeah, there's-
and everything.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
There's a $109
Steel case?
one, yeah.
Steel case book too?
No
steel
it's
case,
the
come
digital
on.
version.
Okay,
The digital
gotcha.
version. There
I
is
got the
one
ultimate
with
edition.
steelbook.
Oh yeah,
There
there's a
is
collectors and all that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's
I
a
gotta look
collector's
into this.
edition, but you can only get that on Bandai Namco website. So you'd have to go on there and grab that. If you have
Yeah.
the physical PS5, physical Xbox. Luckily, I mean, well, not luckily, but unfortunately, I don't have that. I have the digital versions because last gen I was like, I'm gonna just go digital. Fuck it, And I've
Yeah.
been digital ever since.
No, I hear you, man.
I just don't have the room for every fucking game, As many games as I play.
I hear you, man. No, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. It game releases September 9th, so that's going to be here. That's going to be around the corner soon before we know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get this super chat real quick from $5 super chat from Game Over Brian. And I love this super chat. It's one of my favorite ones to read. Hey, BRAP, great show, and thanks. Great BRAP Rant Sunday. I have questions. Legendary Jay Bari, when upgrading Final Fantasy VII Remake, do trophies pop automatically?
My man right there, yo. Game Over Brian, it does. It does.
Yes. And Predator H2O says, tell Dark he's supposed to be on my OnlyFans tipping daddy. I don't know what that means. So I'm not sure what's going on here, why that's happening. Am I missing something here?
No, that's a joke on next podcast. That's
Oh my god! I read that and I was like, what is going on? I got to be honest with you though. Like I was planning on buying this game on PlayStation 5, but it's on PC too. See, that's my dilemma. Do I get higher frames, maybe better performance on the PC version? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
where do I go?
if you
Red
want a
team, go.
physical version, if you want a physical version, you probably are gonna want to go console.
Yeah.
You want a steelbook case and all that shit, but if
I don't think there's a
just
steelbook case, by
wanting
the way.
frames- No, there is. If you get the
Oh, is there?
collector's
Where?
edition, there is. Yeah.
I don't see that. I'm
It's
just looking.
on Bandai Namco.
Oh, you
go
gotta
on
go
their
there. You gotta
website.
go to their website then. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta go to our website.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm assuming you were buying this for PlayStation 5.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
gotcha. I'm assuming Bari, that's a no-brainer. PlayStation 5.
Absolutely. The only
The
next gen
Xbox is
console
only for
available.
James be
the
messing.
Xbox is only for Game Pass, man.
Yeah,
Oh my
I'll
God.
just wait for it to come to Game Pass.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
I had to
Don't
throw
be
that one
that
out there
guy.
for Bari. I had to throw that one
Don't
out
be
there for
that
Bari.
guy.
That's great. That's
I-
great. You said that Bari spraying you with fragrances.
Yeah.
Because
I know
he's
he's
gotta
going to
get
be
that
trying to.
stench off.
I'm not even ashamed. You know what? I got enough stuff. Honestly, though, like those types of games, I haven't been into like the Japanese RPGs since really the PlayStation 1. My only exception was like Yakuza Like a Dragon, and I think the reason that worked so well, and that one actually was one of my top 5 games of the entire last generation. But they did a really good job kind of westernizing some of the storytelling. And I'm just curious. So, like, from what you guys played in this, is this a pretty much a Japanese ass like RPG? Like, is it more a throwback
It's action.
Is it okay?
You're actually controlling your characters, so you're not like turn-based or anything like that. So it's more action. Story-wise,
more action,
I have
yeah.
no idea yet because there's really not any story-wise yet. We don't really know. I mean, there's reading, but I mean, it's not enough to go off of what's really going on in the story yet.
Yeah, there's
So
not
how do they action compare to something like I do really like the Devil May Cry series and things like that? Like, is that something that's going to appeal to people who like that, or is it a little bit more simplified because of the RPG mechanics?
Combat wise, you can do some Devil May Cry esque things. It's not as like deep as Devil May Cry because you're focusing on one character there. This game you have like 6 people in the party that all have their own like move sets and play differently.
Okay.
But
so there's different
you
play
can do
styles.
you can do some stuff where you can use your arts to lock an enemy in like as you hitting them and switch over to your other character and do their combos and then switch back to your other character and it's continuing 70 hits, 90 hits. It gets crazy.
It does, yeah. And like you could actually like Devil May Cry, you could actually like flip the enemy AI to the air, like as you're hitting them. Like they can actually like lift in the air if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do like that combo stuff.
Yeah,
All
and
right,
you get
that's
cool.
cool.
I like it. It's definitely it's not turn based. It's like Bari and Dark Autumn said. It's very much like more action oriented. Probably kind of like I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, I mean Devil May Cry might not be the best example, but you'll get those vibes a little bit. I think the story though, the story is probably where this game is. I think is probably gonna shine too, outside of the combat. I think Bar. I think you said they added some other things to it, like the ability to I think you said like the campfires or the camps to cook and stuff like that. Is that you there, Barry? Hello.
They also added a sprint as well, so you can sprint around the world. But yeah, there are camps. There's camps where you can make food. There's also going to be a farm.
Yeah, I was picking apples.
Yeah, there's going to be a farm that you're going to be able to you're going to have like your own farm where you're going to be able to have animals and like fucking all kinds of shit. And then there's also fishing as well. This one seems a lot more in depth than the last several.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Tales
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Want to grab another super chat.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, yeah. I don't know what happened.
Oh, no worries, man.
I'm over here talking like, yeah, you can do all this and that. I'm like, what? You can't hear?
No, I was like, oh, what happened? $2 super chat from JB. He says XPG 7S7. I can't even talk. S70 Gen 4 1 terabyte $149, 2 terabyte $269, 6400 piece hashtag PlayStation Nation. Thank you for that super chat, Jamie. That's a reference to M.2 NVMe. So thank you for that. I'm still trying to figure out the screwdriver thing. Maybe you can help me, Jay Barry, understand that. So big shout out to Warrior. By the way, man, I gotta give a shout out to Persona, man. I loved how he brought some common sense to that whole thing, by the way. With the fact that we've all done things that we've never done before, we just figure it out. So Cool. So I would real quick, the Tales of Arise Collector's Edition. I did find that if anyone's interested, as Dark Optimus mentioned, you do have to go to Bandai Namco's website. It's $189. $189 for the collector's edition. And collector's edition includes full game, steelbook, physical soundtrack. That sounds cool. 8-centimeter figurine featuring is it I can't pronounce her name. Shion, thank you. And Alphen. 64-page art book. The 64-page art book sounds pretty cool. Other features, that's it, I think. Yeah, that's it. It's 180. That's, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, that's a little pricey.
I know, it's a steep price, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like,
You got that, man. It's no issues, no worries.
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to pay $189 for. I feel like I should get like a sword or something with that. You know what I mean? Like, give me a sword.
Statue.
Yeah, but how big? Yeah, you get a figurine. You get 2 figurines, all right? Or is it? Or is it both of them together?
They're together.
Oh, they're together. Yeah.
Yeah, together.
Okay. I don't know. I'll think about it. Maybe I'll get it. We'll see. Got to support my devs, Jay Barry.
Absolutely, I'm getting it, and I got the Ultimate Edition already.
Just remember though, you can only get that uncapped frame rate on PC. So
don't tell me that. That's my dilemma, man. Gotta stop.
Just letting you know.
No, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. So, all right, I want to move on to new AAA game looks amazing on PlayStation 5. You guys, and the game that I'm speaking of is none other than Call of Duty Vanguard. Barry, I know you're a big Call of Duty guy. Are you excited for this game?
So I recently got my love back for COD. Shout out to the Treyarch gods for
playing Warzone.
Nah, not at all. I don't play Warzone at all. But they've been listening to my complaints. You know what I mean? I came back to Call of Duty just recently, matter of fact, like last week. Like a season 5 update. It had me. It pushed me towards the edge, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna fall. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of things that I just didn't like. I didn't like the fact that Warzone took priority over the actual core Call of Duty gameplay, or the Call of Duty in itself multiplayer. And there was a lot of things that the community was asking for. They wasn't even listening. And now that they buff the SMGs, which is my favorite class of guns, and they listen to some other things just to balance the game a little bit, even though it's still not perfect. They need to balance a few things. It's much better than how it was when I stopped playing the game back in December. But Vanguard, I don't know, man. Like, I'm hit or miss with them, because I did think that Sledgehammer, they did a great job towards the end of Call of Duty World War II. In the beginning, that game was dry as hell. You know what I mean? But then they start listening, and they made it fun. They added new guns, they added new modes, and it was pretty cool. But we'll see how it is with Vanguard now. Let's see if hopefully they can come out with a product that they're not limiting the COD players at the beginning, and then we have to wait 4-6 months down the line for the game to be fun like they did with World War II. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna watch the trailer. I'm not playing through I'm not playing it through. I'm not gonna watch it through Warzone. I'm just gonna wait for the trailer to pop up on their YouTube channel, and I'll watch it there. But I just want to see how the multiplayer is gonna go with Vanguard. You know what I mean? But I heard we're gonna get an alpha on the PlayStation soon, so we'll see. I'm definitely gonna be in there testing it out.
Yeah, that's right. And so apparently some gameplay is leaked online, and Call of Duty insider Tom Henderson said that the campaign footage was running on the PlayStation 5. He said it's one of the best looking games on current gen consoles and doesn't suffer from any gray wash like previous entries in the series. That's I mean, I don't know. I think that seems exciting. He says I think there's it seems to allude that there's a mission set on the night before the D-Day landings. He says it looks very crisp. No gray wash that we typically see in Call of Duty. He says it looks like they've used the PlayStation 5 to its full potential. A lot of playing with shadows and lighting, fire, gunshots, and that sort of thing. So That I don't know. I'm actually pretty. There was another actually. Adding to what Henderson said, there's another insider named Okami who said, "I've seen gameplay of Vanguard's campaign. It actually looks really good. There's one particular. There's one part in particular where the lighting is really impressive. I almost find it hard to believe it's running on console. Yeah. So I mean that sounds cool. I mean I don't know. I mean obviously
I think the COD campaigns looked amazing. Like especially the last two. Yeah. Like the last two I don't like so much. Like Modern Warfare, the campaign for Modern Warfare looked amazing. That campaign was actually great. Black Ops Cold War, that campaign looked great too. You know, so if they're talking like this,
I thought Cold War was pretty good. Yeah,
it looks better than those two, but yeah, we'll definitely see.
So Bart, are these games are they only going to be current gen only?
No, they're cross gen.
They're going to be cross gen. Okay, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah. I mean, I think
that's a little disappointing, but you know,
yeah,
it's good for business, I guess. You know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's clearly good for business. I mean, that's why they're doing it, you know. And I wonder how much of the pandemic too, and not being people not being able to get their hands on these next gen consoles has played into that as well. So I thought there was something else about Warzone. That Warzone, I think there might be a new Warzone map. I felt like I read that earlier, and I don't see it here in the article that I'm looking at right now. Yeah,
because they're going to have to change Warzone. I don't think they're going to change it right away, but it's a different setting. So them things, you know, there's going to be new guns that they're going to have to retweak. I don't know if they're going to continue off Warzone continued with Cold War, but within that change they added a new section, and the new guns was in there, but you know they tweaked everything as far as the balancing of the guns. We'll see how it works with what you call it with art.
Yeah. Anyone else interested in Call of Duty Vanguard OBM? How about you, sir?
No, I think I'm with your super chat here. I'm actually gonna skip it this year, and the reason is well, I think number one, I'm a little bit fatigued with Activision, and you know, just everything that obviously happened this year. I think it's easy for me just to kind of put them on hold until they kind of get their stuff together. But in addition to that, between Halo and Battlefield this year, I don't really even think, even if Activision was on their game, I think this is the year to play other things other than Call of Duty. So far, Battlefield looks like it is probably the most next-gen-ish looking multiplayer game. And then after the Halo beta, I'm probably going to put another 2,000 hours into that thing this generation. So there's no point in giving any money over to Activision, and I'm sure they'll be fine anyways. But I'm going to take a break from them this year.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I'm probably not buying Call of Duty Vanguard. By the way, we're going to the super chat. Fake Man Bear Pig with the $2 super chat says, I can't spend another dime in Call of Duty for now. Thank you for that super chat. Yeah, I'm probably going to pass on this one, but I'm interested to see what they do with Warzone. Jay, I think they also said they might have higher player counts too for Warzone, if I'm not mistaken. I thought I may have read that as well. That would be interesting.
I'm good on Warzone.
Come on, Jay. That's where it's at, man. Warzone.
Nah, that's where the cheaters is at. Cheaters is all over the place, but that's where they hibernate over there in Warzone. I see the biggest COD players, they're already quitting Warzone because of the way how they handling cheaters. No real anti-cheats.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I haven't, and I can't tell you how much time I put into Warzone, but I spent some time there playing it. And I haven't come across a lot of cheating, but when I have, it's like you're getting sniped from fucking way across the map. You don't even know where it's coming from. I don't even know how to describe it. It's so obvious. It's ridiculous. You know, people are hiding behind walls and sniping you. It's not good.
Oh yeah, the cheating is an all-time high, especially with the last two Call of Duties. Even in core play. You know, I save them all the time, and I report them. I'm like, oh, cheater, new clip. Here's a cheat, another cheater. You know, guys that have semi-automatic weapons, they're shooting it like it's automatic. You know.
Yeah. Yep. Isn't there one where like they have like unlimited like ammunition or something? I thought that was a cheat that was going around for a while.
There's recently a known streamer. He was streaming and he forgot that. I guess he was streaming, and he's out here popping up his cheats on PC, his aimbot, his wall hacks. He popped it up by accident and tried to play it off. Like, oh no, they caught you. He's cheating.
Yeah, I mean, and there's devices, by the way. It's not. I know people say cheating's only on PC. There's devices that you can download cheats onto to plug into. You plug your controller into this. I forget what device it is.
Cronus Zen and Maximus.
Thank you. That's what it is. Yeah, and it's like pretty. It's actually a pretty sophisticated device. It's got like an LED screen. Yeah. And you could like download all your cheats and your load ups. It's just like
that's what I'm saying. A lot of people in the core play they use that stuff, and you can just tell like, okay, your aim is just locking onto me. It's magnetizing from wherever. It's aim button. You don't miss. You're always getting a headshot. Yeah, you can definitely tell sometimes when they are cheating.
Yeah, no,
I block them.
That's a good point though. To be real, transparent around it, that's probably the number one reason I never moved over to PC gaming is because of the cheaters. And I know, I've heard like Slomo and other, guys who play on PC a lot say, hey, it's not something you run into all the time or very often. And, but it's just, having that in the back of your mind, right? Like never knowing if somebody just got you because they're really that damn good, that somebody just like pivots 180 and quick snipes you. It's like, there's probably people that can do that or people that can pull that off once in a while, but just the fact that it's always in the back of your mind. And even as they allow crossplay on this stuff, I think it's a nice option so that I can play with my friends sometimes casually, but it's something that I hope that on the console side, we can continue to turn off, especially at least until they get better anti-cheats. And so I am curious about that, Enrique. Like, have you played enough on PC to notice whether some games have gotten good at the anti-cheat? Is there like hope in the future on that stuff, or is that still pretty, prevalent?
I'm not sure, man. Like I it's still an issue, obviously on Warzone and COD. Destiny. I haven't played Destiny on PC in a while, so I can't tell you what it's like there. But it's definitely like I haven't seen it a lot, but I have definitely come across it on PC. Haven't come across it on console playing Warzone, but definitely on a few occasions where you could tell something was up. Where like somebody's like Jay said, like they got an aimbot, or like a one shot kill, like they could just like shoot you in your like toe and you're dead. Yeah, but it's not rampant. I mean, it's not like every game you're battling cheaters. I haven't seen that, but you definitely know when someone is like, you're like, wait a minute, like that's too, you're popping off headshots way too easy, like from like distances. Because think about it, you got to compensate for bullet drop and all that stuff, and these guys are across the building just popping you with headshots. It's like, wait a minute, like that's a little sus, but no, I don't think I think like what Jay was saying, I don't think they've banned a lot of people. I know like Activision has, but it's still an issue, man. It's still there. Yeah. It definitely is.
The banning is stupid because it's tied to an account. They banned the account.
That's what I was going to ask, because you could just start unlimited. Yeah. And that's always the problem. Like that is the one thing that I kind of feared. And obviously I think it's a good thing to be able to invite more gamers in and get rid of some of these paywalls with, the online gaming. But that is the one benefit that a lot of people don't talk about, that eventually when they do get rid of these paywalls and people can just start up account after account, right? Like that kind of worries me a little bit, but I don't know, like that's what I was going to ask next. It's like, can they tie it to the game, like the digital game you purchased? Or is it just, can you just make unlimited accounts with, one purchase? And if you can, then that's an issue.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I mean, I think the community's been asking, I think you said this earlier, Jay, they've been asking for like better anti-cheat method. Yeah, from Activision, but I don't know, man. I always feel like it just my experience in gaming. I've always felt like the cheaters always kind of ahead of the curve anyway. Like, I remember like on OG Xbox playing Halo 2, people like would like rig, their keyboard mouse to their OG Xbox. And they would just go in there and just clean up. It was nuts. It was nuts.
Yeah. Well, and you can still actually do
right
that
now too.
Yeah,
you're
right about
you see it
that.
a lot. And the thing is, that's one thing that pissed me off because I'm not a attest to the whole crossplay stuff, but the way how they pitched it with Modern Warfare, they pitch it as something as, oh, it's peripheral based. So if you're using a controller, you're gonna pair up with people on a computer using a controller.
Yeah, but still though,
and that was a big lie that they did there. And you can just tell sometimes, man. It's just like, okay, look at this guy moving. He's definitely on some mouse and keyboard. He's coked up. He's cracked out. This guy's moving like Flash.
And I'm surprised they haven't figured out a way to detect that, because a mouse moves quite differently. Like you can tell when somebody's kind of swinging around with a mouse versus controller, and just it's more herky jerky. Like there's got to be some like algorithm that they can look at it from movement and say, yeah, this is definitely a keyboard and mouse movement versus a controller movement, and put people in the proper force them into the proper playlist due to that. But it doesn't look like they figured that out so far, but that should be something they could figure out in the future if they're really focused on input based matchmaking.
Yeah, the other thing too, I think they should just give the option to disable crossplay. Like if you don't want to play with PC gamers, you can do that now.
Yeah, I mean you always could.
Okay, I thought you could for some reason. Okay,
you always can. I mean, like I said, I'm not attached to it. Like I welcome it, but it's just sometimes it's just like, damn, it's sometimes it's not fair. You can just tell. You could definitely tell. Like I remember those days playing Halo 2, Halo 3, and it was like you could tell when people were cheating. Even on Gears, like the first Gears, I remember that you could tell when people were cheating. But it's gonna be interesting. We're gonna get this alpha soon, and then I'm sure we're gonna be learning more about Vanguard in the coming weeks. But I do want to ask Barry a quick question. Barry, this question is really directed towards you. What is happening on Friday, August 20th? That Ghost of Tsushima director's cut is being played. That's what's happening.
Oh my! I cannot look.
The game nobody wanted to pay $10 for or $30 for. I'm pretty sure they seen them trailers. They're like, hold up, man. That's that PlayStation fragrance. It's smelling good. Here's my wallet. Here's my credit card. Swipe. Let's go. The 20th. We're in there.
I'm telling you, man, I'm so excited, man, because this game was one of my favorite games last year. Like you know what I loved about that game is that, like, obviously it's an open world game, right? Action, adventure, RPG, whatever, right? The thing that I loved about it though is that even though the map was so big, it didn't force that map on you like all at once, right? Not like you would. I remember playing Assassin's Creed. What was Assassin's Creed? The one that was in Greece. I forgot the name of it now because I'm old.
Odyssey.
Odyssey. Malacca. The guy was like Malacca all the time. Like that fucking map like was a little overwhelming for me. Like seriously, like all that shit would pop up. I'm like, oh my god, like this is sensory overload. Like I just felt like I blew a line of cocaine, and I'm just like wigging out. And by the way, I'm not advocating the use of cocaine here, by the way.
Oh my god!
What'd you say, Barry?
Absolutely not. This is a PG show.
This is a PG show, which stands for PlayStation
that
Greatness.
Doesn't make you tired. That doesn't make you tired though. Like when you look, I don't. Maybe it's my age. I do not. Assassin's Creed. I actually thought the gameplay on this Odyssey, at least, I liked the gameplay loop for like the first 10 hours, and then really even up to about 20 hours, I still was enjoying it. But eventually, I just kept looking at map after map of icon after icon, and I got tired. And then I started up the last one, and I think I put 10 hours into that one, and I got tired. And then I was like, okay, I think I'm done with these. No, I think you're right though. That the one thing I did really pick up, and I haven't finished Ghost of Tsushima because eventually I took advantage of the trade-in deals, expecting to get I wanted to wait and play it in 60 frames, so I never finished the game. But I do agree with you that it did a really good job, being open world without being too much. I guess it felt like just the right amount, and I feel like that's something that I hope a lot more developers try to aspire to in the future when it comes to open world games. It's like you don't need to make it 80 hours of just grinding, just try to streamline it. Then you can focus a little bit more on the story. It can play like a linear game if somebody wants to treat it that way. Make it a 20, 30 hour campaign if somebody doesn't want to do all the extras, and then keep it more focused so that you can really kind of focus on the game design, the game, the areas, and not making it super repetitive. After like 60 hours, you felt like you'd been doing the same thing for the last 50. So I think that they did a really good job, and I think they did set a good template. And I am looking forward to getting back into it at 60 frames. But that's all I wanted to say on that. Sorry to jump in.
No, it's fine. No, it's great. Like it's if you haven't played. If you had a PS4 Pro, you could play on PS5, you could play it at 60 FPS right now, right? Like the original. But the director's cut's going to have some, additional features. Obviously, it's going to have, the new island, Iki Island, which I think I forget. I couldn't remember. I was talking to OBM about this last night. I feel like the additional gameplay is what, 20, 30 hours of additional gameplay? Is that right?
I think it's like 15 hours. Or 20 hours, man. Like that. At least from
as long as like one of the acts.
Yeah, so that's about 15, maybe somewhere around there. And I remember Act 1 being. I think Act 3 was actually the.
I don't remember, man.
The least though.
Yeah.
What I will say about that is, like, I always think that sometimes there's like way too much focus on how many hours you spend. You can make something that's not a lot of content take a lot of hours by just putting in a lot of grindy or repetitive stuff. So I think what's more important is just like how well whether the design feels like it was the stuff that was on the cutting room floor, or whether it actually feels. I think one of the things that Sony has done a good job with some of their DLCs is, some people actually will say that some of them play better than the game that came before it. With Uncharted and Horizon, which I didn't try Horizon's DLC because I did beat that game, but I after that I was good. But I've heard from people that really did enjoy it, that said that actually the DLC actually felt like a tighter gameplay loop, or just felt better overall. So hopefully that's really what they do is, 15 hours is fine. I want to see game designers or these companies get back to, quality per hour rather than just, how many hours and how much stuff you can, how big the map is. Like, to me, that just is exhausting. That doesn't make it a better game.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. Yeah.
I don't see Ghost of Tsushima, especially this one. I don't see it being like Assassin's Creed in a way where
I agree.
They just put filler in there just to give you filler. Like with the original Ghost of Tsushima, like when you play that game, like you wanted to explore it because it was just so beautiful looking. Plus, like there was so much like going on in that world that you never felt like you were in an empty space,
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing about, I think, with this DLCs, you're probably going to get a lot more of that, plus then some. It seems like, at least from what I've read and what I've seen, it looks like it's going to be absolutely amazing. Because I mean the game itself was already amazing. Like, it's probably one of the best. I would say it was probably the best PlayStation game, that's the one I think should have won Game of the Year last year, to be honest. I mean, I loved Last of Us 2, but Ghost of Tsushima really just pulled me in and didn't let go at all. So, yeah, I'm actually excited to play this. I wasn't going to get it because Kana was coming out, and I was like, well, I'll just wait to play it because Kana's coming out, and I wanna play that. But since that's not coming out, and got plenty of time to play that before Kana comes out, and probably hopefully before Tails comes out as well. So I'm definitely gonna pick this up and give it a shot. I mean, what is it like? Is it $10? Is it $10 to upgrade if you already have it, or is it like 30?
No, it's 30 if you already have it on PlayStation 4.
Okay.
Now,
Either way, it doesn't matter.
yeah.
I don't care. I'm still gonna spend the money because it's a whole new island, and you're only and that's like 15 hours or 20 hours of gameplay.
But they charge you $10 extra.
For what?
I'm joking, man. It's a joke. About the next gen. I think. Okay, that joke. Okay. Anyhow, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get. I mean, I don't want to bring up the whole because I know how Bari feels about Game Pass, but yeah, people need to like calm down with the whole. Well, you got to spend this much to get. It's like, dude, come on. Like, if there's a game out there that you really want to play, you're gonna fucking pay the money. Like you're not gonna sit there and twiddle your thumbs and wait for the game. You're not gonna do any of that shit. You're gonna fucking play the game. And and with this game, it's getting a DLC, and most of the time, what DLCs are about $30 anyways, right?
Yeah.
Typically. So that's not bad, and plus it adds like 15-20 hours to it.
Yeah,
fuck, man,
so
that's good enough,
Yeah, so a guy in the chat's like $10 for using console features trash. That's kind of what I was referring to. Like, I think that's
console features. Oh, like what? What is he talking about?
I don't. It's the difference between last gen and current gen. That's all it is. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I mean, you don't have to pay the $10. You can just buy the expansion for PS4, which you get 4K 60 anyway on the PS5. It's just the $10 is like they added more stuff and more work because of the expansion as well, and the base game.
Yeah.
So wait, so with the features and the DLC, it's $30.
Yeah.
Yes. So you get the haptic feedback, 3D audio, all that. That's the difference in price between with the PS5, which is the premium product, if you will, right now, right? Because it's newer.
Yeah.
The PlayStation 4 is not as premium, right? And so there's a price difference, and the $10 difference, they're calling it that they're charging you to use the console features when, you know what? You don't have to fucking buy it if you don't want to.
Yeah, you don't have to buy it, but honestly, man, I'll pay the extra $10 just to feel the difference in with the features. Because I mean, like honestly, like that's the whole. This is so fucking dumb, dude. I hate this shit.
I was waiting for
me off.
I was waiting for you. I was
you
waiting
know
for you
how
to
I am.
erupt. I know. That's
you
why
know how I
said
am, dude.
I was poking the bear.
You know how I am.
I was poking the bear.
It's so fucking stupid, man. It's like, oh, you're gonna pay $10? Yeah, I'm gonna pay fucking $10 because it's my goddamn money. You don't like it? Kiss my fucking ass. You know, like I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat shit for you. I'm gonna give it to you straight. If I want to spend the money, I'm gonna do it. You know, and you're not gonna talk me out of spending my money. You can bitch and moan all you want about freaking the features. You paying $10 for features. You can bitch and moan all you want. I do not care.
You know what's funny is that these guys pay. The reason why I laugh at this argument is because in their lives, I'm willing to bet that they probably pay to get additional features on a consumer product. They probably pay additional money, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, but because it's a console war thing, it's like, oh my god, you know, it's like, come on, it's like it's ridiculous. And look, if you don't want to pay for it, it's not for you. Cool, that's your choice too. You know,
it's these hardcore Xbox Game Pass fanboys who are like, I don't want to spend extra money if I don't have to. It's like, I understand that you don't have to. Good. Then go play it over there. Go play the games. Go do your shit, and leave everybody else alone who wants to do it. Who gives a crap?
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I hear
I
you.
mean, with Game Pass, you are saving money, so you could afford when you do play on the PlayStation that extra $10. Just saying.
Right. Exactly. You can. That's why I got a Series S. Cause I'm all like, shit, man. I don't have to pay for Psychonauts now. Psychonauts 2.
Yeah.
I can just get it on Game Pass, and now I can go out and buy Ghost of Tsushima, the Iki Island expansion.
Yeah.
Shit. You know, like, I just see it as a good resource to just have something, you know, have more games, to be honest.
Yeah. Look, I gotta be honest. Yeah, I'm at a point now. I'm tired of being nice to people about this kind of stuff. You know, like this one guy in the chat's like, nowhere in the box does it say you have to pay extra unlock features advertised on the box. Like, what, really? So we just paid. We had a price increase last console generation, $10 more. Same thing with games that were cross gen. They were $50 on one generation. They were $60 on another. Yeah, what are we doing here? It's just it's so dumb. It's so dumb, and it just go outside, take a walk, breathe some fresh air.
I guarantee if there was an Xbox game out there that was $60 and it wasn't coming to Game Pass, and they really wanted to play it, they would fucking fork over the money to get it. Guaranteed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're gonna buy what you want.
Exactly.
It just unfortunately turns into console war stuff, and it just these people are just making very bad arguments about this because they want to make a plastic box look bad, which is even worse if you think about it. Like, you want to make a plastic box, an inanimate object that has no feelings, that has circuit boards, wires, fans. You want to... Fuck, I'm sorry. I'm just done being nice. Anyhow, so yeah, I'm excited for Friday, Jay Barry. I will be on Ghost of Tsushima. My backlog is going to get real. I was trying to get through Hades like OBM. And by the way, I'll say this. If you have Xbox Game Pass, you haven't played Hades, shame on you. It's the best game on Xbox Game Pass right now. It's also on PlayStation as well. But it's an awesome game.
Fuck roguelikes, all right? I hate
Oh,
those fucking
God.
games. I hated Returnal. I also hated Hades. I tried them both. I don't like that shit. It's just not for me. So
Yeah.
At least,
It is an
at least
acquired
you,
taste.
at least you keeping the same energy, man. You know, a lot of people back in April, you know, when it comes to industry, media, you know, gamers, everybody was like, they don't know what a roguelite or roguelike is. You know, they was confused what Returnal was doing. Let's put the easy mode in there. Why you can't have save points? But yet Hades come out. Everybody's now, this is my game of the year. I wonder how come you had that energy for a roguelike, or let's put save points, or let's.
because Barney, they didn't have to pay $70 for it. That's why.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. We're on the same page.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, that, you know, roguelites, and yeah, I mean, yeah, I never understood that with Returnal too. I'm like, it's a roguelike, guys. Like, what do you like? I get the glitching stuff. That stuff was terrible, but the checkpoints like that. I mean, like, have you not played? Like, you know, I don't know. Yeah, very interesting to say the least. Let me ask you guys real quick. I think you and I talked about this last night, OBM. With regards to Ghost of Tsushima, Iki Island.
Mm-hmm.
Could a DLC be nominated for Game of the Year?
Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah, I doubt it.
I doubt it. And like that. That's just. I mean, it just going by there historically. I can't think of a time they've ever nominated. And there's been good DLCs. Like I mentioned a couple of them earlier. You know, there's been some high quality DLCs that don't even get brought up in the conversations. even on like even on when like IGN does them for each of the platforms and things like that, they usually get overlooked, or they're in their own category. So maybe to get its own category for DLC, who knows? That might be something they could consider in the future, especially since it seems like most games going forward, even single players, are going to, if they're going to be very expensive AAA games, they're going to try to figure out how to put some legs on those. I think Sony's going to continue to do that. I think everybody that's in AAA gaming, if they do make a single player game, will figure out some way to monetize it beyond just the initial thing. So I expect more DLC. So I think it's a good point to say that if something does stand out from that in that regard, should it have its own category? Probably. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't get super worked up about game awards anyway. So I'm just speaking an opinion that I'm not super passionate about, but it does make sense that they should have something to go by. But I don't think that they will get nominated for the traditional game of the year.
I mean, it could be nominated for best ongoing game. Possibly, because it does have
that's possible.
The multiplayer as well.
Yeah, it's got some stiff competition with Battlefield and Halo and all that stuff too. If those make the, if Halo makes the cutoff date, but yeah, I think that could definitely get thrown into that category, especially since Ghost of Tsushima. I know I'm butchering the name. sorry for everybody out there. But especially since they do have some multiplayer components now as well, so yeah, it could fall in that category.
I mean, I just a thought there. I was thinking, like, could this happen? But no, that's some great points. Probably not, I guess. Maybe like ongoing. Did you say ongoing game?
Ongoing game.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Yeah.
I mean, if it does happen, I mean, I think that would piss a lot of people off.
Oh my God, people go nuts. People go nuts. Yeah, be a very unpopular thing probably. The conspiracy theories would be running rampant, like especially if it's on the Game Awards show. So, yeah,
they'll have a new category. Best DLC or something.
best
especially for this
DLC. Yeah.
That's how
best
they do it.
DLC.
Like if you read some of the categories in the descriptions, like, okay, you're just trying to make this game win award. Like,
that's funny, man. That's funny. Yeah. Hey, did you guys see? Did you guys see the Among Us developers are not happy with Fortnite's copying of? The Fortnite has a new imposters mode that looks, somewhat, I think, similar to Among Us. I will say this though, obviously the presentation is different. Where one's 2D, this one's more 3D. The 3D one being Fortnite. I would say there are some similarities. I think a lot of journalists, influencers took to Twitter and kind of were like, hey, they kind of stole this idea. I wouldn't say it's an exact carbon copy per se, but yeah, you could definitely see the similarities. I think that I know that again that some of the developers, I forget the developer of Among Us, who, God,
everybody's adding that type of Among Us mode because Call of Duty just did it with Season 5 update with a double agent mode. So it's pretty much like it's pretty much Among Us in that mode. So I just imitation is just like flattery, man. Just take it as flattery. Like people's gonna copy what you're doing because you have a popular product. I mean, it sucks that it's Fortnite because that's like the popular, product that might take people away from playing your game. But at the end of the day, no,
it's interesting because like even some of like the maps, if you like some of the screenshots going around about the maps between Among Us and this new Fortnite mode. They do look similar, but again, I think, as I look at like the presentation, the actual gameplay, I mean, playing something in 3D is obviously different than playing 2D, right? And I'm not trying to be Go ahead, OBM.
Oh no, sorry about that. You took a breath, and I thought you were done.
Dude, you are ready jumping. He stopped breathing. Go.
That's my chance. No, I am sorry.
Oh, man, go ahead. It's all good, man. It's all good.
I don't think it's going to affect Among Us in any way. Like you were saying there, it is a completely different game. It's going to have it's going to have an appeal to a completely different player. I know my son doesn't like to play the competitive. He likes the Fortnite builder. He doesn't really play the competitive. He likes Among Us. This isn't going to do anything to sway him over to Fortnite because it's got some, if you're that in Among Us, you're going to play Among Us. I do think though that Epic at times looks creatively, I don't want to say they're creatively broke. That's not fair. They've done
they kind of look like that a little bit. I could see the optics of it because with Fortnite wasn't like when Fortnite came out, it wasn't like Fortnite we see now.
Yeah,
like it basically it took what PUBG did and kind of like, okay, we're just going to do the battle royale.
And that's what it seems like they're doing. They're just like, hey, let's keep looking around. What's hot? Like, what can we throw in our game from other games? And so that aspect of it does turn me off to Epic a little bit. I guess to me that feels, even though it's a thing that's happened in gaming forever, it does feel like it feels too blatant. It's like it's to the point. If there ever was plagiarism, that's they walk that line more than any other developer right now. And so I don't root for them anymore. They do kind of annoy me with some of that stuff. And I don't think it's really, at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to affect like I said, it's not going to affect the engagement of Among Us or anything like that. It just seems really tacky. That is all.
Yeah, that's a great point. By the way, want to give a big shout to Gaming Forte. What's up, Forte?
Yo, what's up, man? How's your lawn?
Oh, dude, not as good as yours, man. Not as good as yours, dude. It's a work in progress,
His
sir.
is more like the back nine. Yours is more like the front nine.
Mine is like
the thing that you see from the freeway.
Yeah, my lawn is not the front nine nor the back nine. It's more like the driving range, with all the divots and everything everywhere.
Oh Lord.
Forte's got like that PGA grass going,
Man.
You got the right level of pH balance in your grass.
My lawn is woofing. It's been woofing for the last couple of weeks, so I could grow it out some.
Oh man, I hear that. But Forte, man, welcome to the show, sir. Great to see you, man. As always. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. It was I've just been listening to y'all. Been helping my wife pack. That's why I wasn't here at 10 because she's she has a wedding she's going to this weekend, so she's flying out tomorrow. Well,
I apologize for the F-bombs Optimus was dropping, so
oh well, she was no. I had my iPad. I had my earpods in, so she ain't hear all that crazy rhetoric that was going on up in this party right now. I was listening. I was like, oh my god!
I get passionate, man. I can't help it. I get passionate.
Dude, this is like
Optimus said, "GamePass sucks."
That man has.
I didn't say that.
That man has
not say that. I just said,
that man. Hey man, that man has his opinions. Nothing wrong with having it. You would never get in trouble for having an opinion. I guess. Yeah. It depends. Yeah. It depends on what community you're part of, though. Honestly.
Yeah.
It's gaming opinions at the end of the day.
Absolutely, because you would definitely get in trouble with me with a dumbass opinion. I don't give a damn if it's an opinion, if it's a dumbass opinion.
I can't wait for the next segment.
It's gonna get checked.
Oh man.
There are some pretty bad opinions though out there in the gaming streets, as they call them.
People not saying Forte. People always try to be like, well, it's just my opinion. Yeah, it's your opinion, but it's a dumbass opinion.
Oh man.
Look, everyone's entitled to your opinion. Doesn't mean you're right. It doesn't mean it's a good opinion. I mean, it is what it is,
And a good 70 to 80% of the time, I have no opinion. I'm sitting there just listening, like, yeah, I can see both sides of this, but it's no reason to throw anything into the ring because I really don't care.
Yeah,
but it's funny though. It's a lot of back and forth. Yo, but this whole y'all gotta leave Epic alone, man. They doing what they need to do, man. They did it to Apex. Remember when Apex came out and they had the whole revive system and stuff and taking people places, they did that within a week of Apex coming out. So, I feel like it's, the one thing about them, it just comes back to, you can't say that they don't have relevant things in their games that other games have, because if it's relevant enough and it's good enough that people are talking about it and it's trending, they'll add it to their game. Because they'll never fall out of favor because they don't have something another game has that people like. And I think that's smart on their behalf. It kind of keeps them at the top of the food chain when it comes to that. The only thing that's going to end Fortnite is Fortnite, just like Call of Duty. The only thing that's going to end Call of Duty is Call of Duty. Nothing else will beat it until it beats itself.
Cool.
Oh, what?
No, I said cool. I just said cool.
Cool.
I said cool. All right.
Cool.
Yeah.
You can say cool.
That's why I jump in when you guys breathe. To avoid that.
No, that was
uncomfortable.
no. You know, I forgot. I actually had my mic mute. Got to mute my mic for a second. Then I was like, "Oh, Forte, stop talking." I was like, "Cool." No, that's a great point though, Forte. Like they're but it's interesting though. Like the Among Us devs are kind of actually. I mean, they're on Twitter. They're talking about this. Like they're saying like one of them was like, "Yeah, it would have been nice to collab." One of them was like, I haven't been tweeting much recently because I've been working so hard on oncoming content for Among Us. So it feels weird to be compelled to tweet again because of stuff like this. It's okay, though they flipped electrical and medbay and connected security to the cafeteria, referring to the like maps. So, I mean, I get it. But by the way,
it's the best form of flattery.
Yeah,
People keep forgetting that.
But I wouldn't say they absolutely stole it per se. Because, again, like I think the one thing that's the game's going to play differently because version
of the type of game it is.
But one version's in 3D and the other's 2D. So there's going to be a difference there based on that design choice, right?
Right.
But a lot of people are mad. A lot of people out there saying, "Oh, they stole it," and I'm kind of like, well, yeah. I mean, I see there's similarities, but I don't know if I would use the word stole, or they hijacked it per se. I don't know if me personally, my opinion, I wouldn't say that.
Right.
So,
they can't lock off the genre. You know what I mean? Like
right.
Yeah.
There's certain things they can probably I guess probably would sue if they did everything like similar to what they done there, but the genre itself, as far as like the game mode or whatnot, I don't think you can really like lock that.
I mean, yeah, it's just like you said with PUBG earlier. It was more of Fortnite saw what PUBG was doing, and they literally just copied what PUBG was doing and said we could do it better, and they just did it. So if you want to say anything was probably a carbon copy of what another game was doing, because Epic was working real closely with for PUBG when they were actually doing that. They had all the systems in the background. They knew everything that was going on with PUBG. They straight hostile took over that game when those games were being compared to each other, and that would probably be the closest I could say that one kind of just stole everything from another and just ran off with it. But I don't think we have seen any other games, really kind of be that ruthless with it. So I definitely understand how some people can feel the way they feel about Epic when it comes to Fortnite, but I'll never blame them for anything because they're keeping their game relevant, and that game was super irrelevant before PUBG came out because nobody was out there building forts. Nobody wanted to do that whole day and night cycle with zombies and stuff. That stuff was dead. As soon as they flipped the switch and made it a battle royale, everybody flocked to it, and look where it is now.
Go ahead, OBM. I guess we lost OBM.
Oh wait, no. Here, I'm here.
That was your chance to jump in.
Oh no! I mean, I'm letting everybody. I'm letting everybody take at least 2 breaths before I jump in from now on.
Like DMX, drop it on the floor.
Oh my God, it's hilarious! Yeah.
No, I mean, I said everything I was going to say about that aspect of it. I think you guys brought up good points about it. At the end of the day, I just don't even think it's really that big of a news story. It does feel a little bit like cheating. I don't really care for. I don't have as much respect for, for the developers that don't. I don't know. It just feels, it from a creative standpoint, it doesn't feel right. But at the same time, it's not really hurting the industry or anything. So, at least at this point, it does bring up, I think, an interesting thing to think about, though, in terms of what it could mean going forward. And maybe that's the part that might be the most interesting, because you have to think that these other mega corporations are looking at what Epic has done over the last few years with Fortnite. A game that came out, it was a AA game, it was a commercial failure, and since then it's turned into the biggest thing in the world gaming wise. And all they've done to get there is copy others, right? Like take the big ideas, the hot trends, and put it in their game. How do we merge it into our game? Now there is some creativity to merge it in there, so you got to give them credit for that, because it's not like it. If it was just that easy, then everybody would have, you know, all these other Dark Souls games copycats would have taken off. They didn't, right? Like all these other we've seen like Ubisoft come out with, you know, with their battle royale that didn't go anywhere. So it's not necessarily just a sure thing that just because you're going to try to take somebody's idea and you know, make it your own, that it's going to work out. There is some talent and creativity to twist that into your own brand. However, I do think that I'm sure other corporations look at that stuff and are saying to themselves, like, look at what Epic is doing. All they do is they spot whatever the hot thing is, and they figure out, they got the people that know how to make it work with their core game. And I'm sure they're going to continue to do that. I'm sure that there's going to be things they steal from other games in the future as well, that people, you know, how long before Fortnite has a physics-based grapple hook, for example. You know, I just think that kind of stuff could be on the horizon. And you know, and I guess if it continues to go in that direction, are other companies going to do that? And they already are a copycat league. Like, I guess that's the thing. We're already in that. We're already in that area space, anyways, where these big corporations, they read the data, they look at the trends, and then they go. That's what dictates AAA gaming these days. It's not. They don't sit in there and think, for the most part, I would say over the last 5 years, they don't sit in these rooms and go, let's think of like a really creative, brand new idea. For most of them, I would say, look at what's worked and what hasn't, and then they try to build a machine around that. You know, their I don't know, whatever production line based off of that. So I hope that it doesn't that this doesn't just further that and have every developer copying every, you know, on the AAA side. And so that is something to kind of keep a lookout for. Like, does the success of Fortnite, is that something that is going to have a further, is that going to further reduce some of the creativity in expensive games? And I guess maybe we've already seen that, so maybe it's not even something that's going to happen. It's already happening or happened. But you know, I guess you could ask the question whether that just continues to reinforce that idea.
Well, the biggest thing is, if you want your game to be seen, you got to come up with new things, you know, because a lot of people see pretty much almost everything. There's some things out there that kind of surprise people when they see it. So you're always going to see new innovations, new things, new ways of playing the game, just ways of interacting with the game. The thing is with Epic is, since the only game they work on is Fortnite, they can turn around updates in days. They are so fast to put an update out for that game. It's probably the most updated game you'll ever see. And the fact that they don't have developers working on anything but Fortnite, that's the only thing they're working on. They can see a trend, and that trend can be part of that game within not hours, but probably 2 to 3 days. And then that is something that's new in the game, and it's already the biggest platform out there. And that's the biggest thing. Fortnite's a platform at this point. It's not just the game. It's more than that. I mean, you got Ariana Grande concerts going on in there and everything, and people jumping into stuff like that. So it's just more of, they know how to keep that game relevant in so many different ways that when they see a trend, they can instantly put that trend into use, because there's no downtime with that game. They're not afraid to play test a new feature in the live server. That's another thing too. They'll let the you know, the people, the gamers, figure that out and say, okay, this is a little too strong. We got to dial this back, dial that back. So their play testing is live in color, versus other games. They say we got to do betas and this and that, or we got to play test it inside of closed doors. They do it quickly, and sometimes people hate it, but a lot of times the people that play that game love it.
Well, you actually bring up a really good point, and that's another thing about the AAA's thing, because that is, like, when you think about when you think about these companies, these giant companies that can spend jillions of money, I made that number up, but they could spend money that nobody else can. You got to think about where they're going to try to compete is where they're going to have the biggest competitive advantage. And so like when you kind of look at what's happening like industry wide with a lot of the tools and things like that, and you're going to see like a gap close in terms of graphics and animations and things across the board. The one area that AAA will continue to have a massive advantage in is their ability to be agile. Just by sheer force that they can continue to update their games, like you were saying, Forte, continue to provide new content, keep it interesting. And that's one area that they continue that they will. I think that's one of the reasons why you've seen like even like Ubisoft, like how they've, how we're seeing that they're going to try to go more in that direction. WB said they want to go in that direction. You see Square's trying it with their Western studios. Like that is trending that way because for a AAA, if they can make really great single player games with all that manpower, but the problem is that they really lose a lot of their advantage there, and so they're going to continue to stay in areas where they can stand out. And so I think that's just another reason why when we hear some of the complaints about where they're going, it's like part of me says, well, I wouldn't worry about that. A lot of the games you want are going to come from the AA space in the future, and that's one of the reasons why the AAAs are going to stay over there. But I just kind of reinforces that is the one thing that they can do that nobody else can is have these games, have these platforms that just continue to evolve, that they can put out updates really quickly, keep them interesting and fresh. Like how the heck is Fortnite still making all this money like a few years later? And it's created a whole different, we always go into these conversations about like, the $70 game versus Game Pass, but like there's multiple business models out there now. And that's really where the AAA has gone is games that live as a platform, and they are their own entity and they compete just like any other sort of financial model will. And it is something that we like when we do this, Game Pass talk. It's one of the things that we kind of skip in that conversation because it's not like there's just two things. There's free to play games. There's a lot of different types of models all competing for not just your money, but for your time and like what you think about, but sorry, another tangent, but I think it was a really good point that sometimes, that we overlook.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. I do want to move on to the last topic of the evening. I know Dark Autumnus is itching to talk about this.
Better be good, man.
What's that?
I want to see a doctor about that.
I said it better be good.
OBM says you need. Okay, I'm not gonna. That's funny. All right. So, Game Pass came up in conversation again, in part because of an article that came out about People Can Fly. The developers behind the game Outriders, which I actually enjoyed. I played it on PC, enjoyed it. I know the game did launch with some serious issues, some bugs, where people were losing, their loot, stuff like that. There's obviously performance issues in the game, bugs, stuff like that. I think it was probably worse on. I don't know if there was more problems on console or PC. I don't remember, but there were issues nonetheless. So, so an article came out. It was actually IGN, I think, who broke the story. People Can Fly executive Sebastian Wojciechowski, I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. He added that he said that basically that they don't know how many copies of the game was sold, and they haven't earned any royalties from the game. And we know that I think the game has sold like 3 million copies or something at launch. I forget what it was. And so what's interesting is that they don't have any data from Square Enix. But he said that the lack of profitability, he said the lack of payment by the publisher probably means that according to Square Enix, that the game wasn't profitable per se. And he suggests that a lack of profitability could be caused by the publisher, including distribution partnerships, or that Square Enix spent more than expected on releasing the game. Now, when we think about distribution partnerships, obviously the first thing that comes is Game Pass, and IGN mentions that the game, in fact, was launched in Game Pass. And this kind of this kind of raised the conversation again of if Game Pass is hurting games. Now, I don't think Game Pass is the devil. I subscribe to Game Pass. I think it's for me personally, I think it's a great service. I like the value proposition, but I also understand it's not Jesus Christ walking on water. I also understand that not everyone sees the same value in Game Pass that I do, and that's okay. But this article did bring up that conversation piece again of, is Game Pass hurting sales? Is it hurting developers? There's news of Hades. Hades released on both consoles, and 97%, I think this was in the UK, 97% of the sales of Hades were in fact on the PlayStation platform, and then I think 3% on I hope I get the numbers right. Is it 93% or 97? I don't remember now.
Oh no.
Yeah. So anyhow, look, it was like 90% on PlayStation, right? PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and like 7% on Xbox. And so again, people are saying, "Oh, well, Game Pass, hurt sales." And et cetera, et cetera. Now, again, I think that Game Pass probably won't benefit all developers. I think it will benefit some developers. I think that there's a lot of missing data points regarding Outriders, like, and even to his point, Wojciechowski's point, that they don't have, sales data from Square Enix. There's a lot of data points we don't know. We also don't know what deal Square Enix struck with Microsoft, because obviously Microsoft's paying developers to get to put their games in Game Pass. I've heard rumblings that Microsoft has on occasion paid a sizable bag to get some of these games on Game Pass, right? But we also don't know what the relationship with or the deal was with Square Enix. Does Square Enix, because obviously, they're people can fly is getting royalties off of games sold. As part of the contract, whatever deal they had with Square Enix, does it not include getting the bag from Microsoft to get to put that game in Game Pass? I do think if that's the case, they're not sharing the bag with the developer or the publisher's not sharing the bag per se. I think that's a shitty thing to do. I think that you're probably coming to a dollar figure to put that game on Game Pass based on some kind of projected sales. You're probably just not letting Microsoft dictate whatever that bag is going to look like without running some data or making some projections of, okay, this is what we think this game's going to sell on that platform, and hence this is what we think this game is valued at in order for us to put it on Game Pass day and date, right? So there's a lot of I think there's a lot of missing pieces here. Again, I do think in some instances Game Pass probably isn't going to be good for every publisher or developer. Some instances it might be. I know that Microsoft has shared some data points where they say that gamers spend more time playing games on Game Pass. Some developers have come out and said that they've seen increases in sales after being on Game Pass, like
Grand Theft Auto.
What's that?
I said just like Grand Theft Auto, when it left Game Pass, their numbers skyrocketed again because people that were on Game Pass playing it had to go out and buy the actual game when it left.
Yeah, but I mean that could be part of it, But again, we don't know how many of those people were on Xbox, that were playing. I mean, we could assume that some of those people went out and bought the game. Maybe they bought it at a discounted price. We know that Rage Squid's Descenders, if you guys ever play the game Descenders, my kids play that. They reported sales increase of 5 times after paying on Game Pass. We've had Matt Piscatella on, and Matt said that after there was data, and this was probably about a year ago, that did show that games that had reached like their maturation point in the retail space and then had made their way to Game Pass saw an increase in sales. Again, these are games that were released, went through the retail cycle, were brought to Game Pass, and then achieved additional sales because they were on Game Pass. And then again, Microsoft reporting that Game Pass players spend 20% more time gaming, they play 30% more total games in general, and explore different games in different genres. So, again, there's probably a lot here that we're missing.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to my man Jay Bari. Jay, is Game Pass the devil? I'm just kidding. I'm like,
Xbox is the devil.
What are your thoughts, man?
The thing is,
go ahead, man.
I don't think Game Pass is a bad service. I always say Game Pass is not a bad service. You know what I mean? It's a great service, actually. You know what I mean? If people generally can't really afford to buy their games, yeah, you have a service that can compensate for that. The thing is, it's not the only my only issue when I always bring up with Game Pass is I feel like people are more agenda based when they trying to push Game Pass, because I just find it weird that somebody can push for a service like Game Pass but ignore the other stuff that's on the other platform. You know what I mean? Like it's not like an exclusive thing that's only tied to Microsoft. You know, there's very similar services here that's out there that's as good as it, but people only talk about this, especially when certain games come to it. They're like, oh, this is great for Game Pass. Meanwhile, the other service had the same goddamn games in there for 6 to 8 months, but everybody was just quiet. That's the only reason why I come at Game Pass like that. But I always thought, and
when you mean the other service, are you referring to like PlayStation Now? Is that what you're referring to?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's no different than the Bethesda thing, right? Bethesda, Microsoft spent $7.5 billion. And everybody was like, yo, this is great for Game Pass. Now all the Doom and everything is in Game Pass day one. This is great. Remember, everybody's rocking with it. Meanwhile, those same games were in PS Now. You know what I mean? Long time before they were in Game Pass, but everybody was, shh, don't talk about that. We can't. We got to push Game Pass. That's the only reason why I come at Game Pass, right? But when it comes to this situation here, I've always been saying it to the longest, like, yeah, Game Pass, yes, it's a great service, but the reason why I said it's a great service for those people that can't afford games, right? So it is a great service, but it's always going to be there where it's going to hinder the sales of a video game, where everybody keep bringing up that BS excuse, talking about, oh, through Game Pass, people are buying more games than ever, but they don't bring up the metrics or show any proof, any tangible evidence that this is the case. It is not the case.
Hey, OBM, hold on real quick. OBM, we can hear you typing, dude.
Yeah.
He writing his thesis.
Yo, he's writing his thesis right now.
Keeping your chat entertained.
At the end of the day, is
go ahead, Bart.
Can you blame Game Pass for outright stuff? I'm not necessarily. Yeah, I'm putting Game Pass as one of the factors why these people aren't getting their royalties or not, because the game sales, it didn't hit their projections or their forecast when it comes to the publisher, according to one type of contract they have set up with them. You know what I mean? Because just before when this game came out, or when the game came out, everybody was praising the game on Game Pass. This is great for Game Pass. Oh my God, 3.5 million active users or concurrent users is playing this game. Oh my God, see what the Game Pass effect is great. It's great. But now the flip side comes around. Nobody want to blame Game Pass. He was blaming Game Pass for all the people that can play the game at a ease of access or cheap access to get to play the game. But nobody want to see the longevity of the things. Is that, yo, a lot of devs has came out, people within the industry has came out that work actually in this industry. We're not just talking about podcasters here. People that have worked in this industry is telling you that, yeah, Game Pass is great, but I want to put brand new games in there day one because game development is going up too high, and I don't feel this is viable at right now with the current subscribers this service have. We had Take-Two came out and said it. Sean Layden came out and said it. We have developers that came on David Jaffe podcast and tell you the best way to support the developer is to buy their game. So I don't understand. I'm not saying that Game Pass is entirely at fault for developers not receiving their royalties. Obviously, you got to check with the contract and what they signed up to do and all that stuff as well. But it is a factor, and anybody that says it's not, you're delusional. No disrespect, it's just delusional. Because I guarantee you, the people that have been playing this game through Game Pass, did they buy it? Huh? I'm pretty sure you're gonna.
No, I ain't buy that shit.
Exactly. It's no different. Look, I'm gonna bring up a scenario real quick. Then I'm gonna shut up, right? I'm gonna shut
Yeah.
up. I'm gonna ask a few questions, right? No
Mhm.
different than with streaming games, right?
Mhm.
Streaming games is a viable way to play your games, right? Everybody agree with that, right? It's pretty viable, right? It's cool. No, nobody agree.
If you say so.
Right? It is a way that you can access your game, right?
Okay, you
It's
said viable way. Okay, if
no,
it's a
I
way
mean,
you can
it is. It
access
works.
your game and being viable is two different things.
It works.
Okay, it works. It works in
You know what I
scenarios.
mean? Where you can stream your game. But do you think that is the most optimal way to play your game? Would you rather
Absolutely
play
not.
it streaming or locally on the device?
Locally on the device.
Exactly.
Every time.
Game Pass is a very viable thing, or is a very you can access games playing that, right? You can play it through Game Pass, PS Now, all you can play some games through that, right? Is that the optimal way to support the developer through Game Pass?
The developer's being taken care of on the other end, though.
No. Is
No.
the optimal way?
No. Because we don't see this is the thing. We can only say that if we knew exactly what developers were getting out of that pie. Because look, I will always tell people this: developers definitely deserve their money. But it's like I said, it's about Bungie and slow mo. It's a matter of fact, BRAP was in here when Bungie was getting ready to separate. No, hell no. Because when Bungie separated from Activision during all that stuff, and I said, y'all blaming Activision for something that Bungie signed. Bungie signed a contract with them saying they would make a game and dedicate three games to them for $500 million or whatever it was. And I was like, that's not Activision's fault. And it sounds bad that I'm like praising Activision during everything.
I'm gonna simplify it for you. So
go ahead.
Which way of supporting the developer is more optimal? Through Game Pass, or you just buying the game outright?
Oh, well, yeah, you spending money. Yeah, if you go out and buy the game, I mean, they get 100%. You know where the money's going. Put it that way.
Exactly. So,
but
you know where the money's going.
You answered my question. I had to change the question up, but you still got to the point.
But here's the thing: we don't know, Bari. We don't know if the developers not, because here's the thing: Microsoft's obviously paying people to put their games in Game Pass. Like, developers aren't saying, "Oh, you know, we're gonna do it for free." Like, you gotta, like, they're paying money.
Brad, we don't need to know. We don't need to know the contracts and the deals. We already have developers coming out and telling the gaming community
who are they getting?
Buy our game. That's the best way to support developers. We have examples of this.
I think it's both, though. I think, like I said earlier, this is going to work for some developers. It's not going to work for others. Like Take-Two Interactive said, you know what? For us, for new games coming out,
I don't think
day
it's
and date
both,
doesn't make sense.
Do you think a developer is going to say, no, don't buy our game that's played through Game Pass?
I think a lot of it has to do with Xbox probably going more towards the publisher and asking them, hey, we want this game on Game Pass, instead of going to the developer and saying, hey, we want your game on Game Pass.
Well, the publisher has nothing to do with that. I mean, the developer has nothing to do with it.
No, the publisher does have everything to do with it.
No, I'm saying the developer has nothing to do with it.
Game.
No, the developer has nothing to do with it. That's what I mean. The publisher has everything to do with it. That's why they go to the publisher.
Right, and so the publisher is probably like, shit, man, we're getting money already, you know, without even asking the developer that if they want to do that. So I mean, you know, there's a lot of factors, especially with that game. You know, it's some of it has to do with Game Pass, but I think some of it also has to do with the game itself, because the game itself. The game itself was busted, but it was also boring as fuck, dude. It took me forever to get through that game because I was all like, I don't even know if I want to go back and play this game. But I spent the money on it, and I was just like, man, I better finish it, because I'm gonna feel like a bum if I don't, you know, freaking finish this game. And luckily I did. I mean, it took me a while because I was just like, I just got so bored with it. You know, because all the enemies are pretty much the same and things like that. But, you know, I see where Bari's coming from, where it's like, you know, Game Pass will be viable, I think, for some developers, but for high end developers like People Can Fly and people who make and the developers who make like AAA games, I don't know if the Game Pass is going to be viable for them. I don't know, because I don't know the numbers, you know?
Yeah, and that's a good point there, Dr. Adams. I do have a question though. This is a question for Jay Barry because, one of the things I was thinking about as you were talking, because I know which developer you're talking about. That was the one that made Days Gone. He was on the show with Jaffe, and yeah, he told everybody to go buy my game. But I do want to ask you this question. So like we know, for example, Netflix is right now, they've been on record. They said, hey, we want to get Nolan's next movie, and they're doing everything they can to drop out the bag to get it on there. And we've seen them like bring in a lot of high end actors for some of their shows. Like we've seen Will Smith do a show. We've seen actors that would normally be starring in big budget movie theater movies on Netflix. So I want to ask you, do you think, like, for example, Will Smith makes a movie on Netflix and he makes a movie at the theater. Are you supporting Will Smith more by going to see his movie at the theater or by turning it on Netflix? Because I think that's the same. That's a similar type.
I mean, you're supporting him more if you go to the
I would
theater
go
because
to the
you're
theater.
paying more. But for me, I look at it this way.
Well, actually,
And people are gonna be
Dark
mad at me
Anonymous.
for saying
Hey,
this.
Dark, real quick. I don't mean to
It's
interrupt
just
you.
happened.
Hey, Dark, real quick, because that's a great question that OBM posed about, Will Smith and going to the movies and supporting his movie or watching on Netflix. You have some insight into this, I imagine, yes? Because of what you do?
I mean, somewhat, but I mean that's the thing. Like Netflix is pretty good at paying
Yep.
people for their movies. Like Netflix has always been pretty good, pretty decent at paying people for their movies. Especially movies that have been sitting on the shelf for years and just haven't gotten it shot. Some of those movies have great concepts and the script is not very good, and they should tweak the scripts to make them better. But
Yeah.
Netflix, and that's the thing, you don't have to pay extra for those movies. If you had to pay extra, I could see you being like, okay, yeah, like. But yeah, I mean, yeah, of course going to the movie theater is gonna garner more profit for the actor. But I look at it this way, like, hey man, if I can watch the movie at home and I don't have to go to the movie theater, especially right now with what's going on, I'm not gonna do it. But like as soon as things calm down more again. I mean, I did go to the movie theater. I went to go see what did I go see? I went to go see The Purge, the Forever Purge. And that was a good experience just to go to the movie theater again. But at the same time, I'm all like, shit, man, they're coming out with these movies like right now. They just have put Snake Eyes on Amazon Prime. You can buy it for $24. I'd rather spend the $24 because I know like 3 or 4 people who are gonna be watching that movie, you know, with me. So
Right.
like, and at the movie theater, especially around here, especially here in California. I mean, the movie theaters are expensive. I mean, they're like 15, $16, and I know it's not like that everywhere. I know that some places you can go to the movie theater for like $2 or $3. But yeah, here it's a little bit more expensive depending on which movie theater you go to. I mean, yeah, you can. There are some movie theaters here that are cheaper, but they don't show everything, And there's sometimes where there's a movie that you want to see, and you're gonna be paying that premium price. And with what they're doing, how they're doing it now, you don't have to worry about that, you know.
Yeah.
But eventually you will because they're probably gonna go back to theaters.
Yeah, so it's Dark. I think you bring up some good points, and the reason I asked that question is I actually, when I was writing an article for Xbox Era, I actually did a lot of research on Netflix, and the reason is Satya Nadella actually was mentored by Reed Hastings for a year before he took over Microsoft. So when he was getting into the whole Game Pass model, he was going in it with eyes wide open. So when he says Netflix of gaming, he knows exactly what that means. He knows what the cost of these things are long term and really kind of how they work. But the reason I asked that question also is because when you think about it, like Netflix has been part of a paradigm shift when it comes to the way people consume movies, the way people can make movies. And I asked that question because if it was bad for Will Smith for people to watch him on Netflix, then the first question you would ask is, well, why would he continue to make movies there, or why would any of these big name people continue to make movies there? And the reason they continue to do that is because they are getting paid. And I'm sure you know this, but like this year, I think Netflix is scheduled to spend about $19 billion, and by like the year 5 years from now, they're projected to spend $26 billion in content. And if you think about that, that's like more than 3 Bethesdas, right? And so like there's actually been articles written that because of Netflix, because of their this hunger for content and them kind of driving up the demand for it, because that's one of the things that's happened indirectly, is the subscription models and the competition in that space has actually driven up the demand, and so the people that movie directors, actors, people who make movies basically are getting paid more. And there was actually complaints from some other companies that were not in the subscription model saying, hey, this is bad for us because our costs went up thanks to Netflix and we're not getting any of the benefits from that, those subscriptions. And so, but I bring that up because I take it back to really the question, is Game Pass really hurting games? And the first thing I think you have to do is think about that. And when you say that, what do we mean? Do we mean it's the industry that's expected to be hurt? Because every single study they've done on the industry, based on even the trends that are happening right now, says that the industry is expected to grow significantly. And that's why these giant corporations, like you see like all the money that's being thrown around right now, all these investment groups, you're seeing independent developers getting bags of cash that never would have got it before. And I've talked to some developers, behind the scenes, and it's like money is getting thrown around a lot right now because it's expected to grow a lot. And the reason it's expected to grow a lot is because it's becoming a lot more accessible. So a lot of times when we look at these things, we as a consumer, we look at it in a vacuum. Like we look at it in terms of, is it going to help my slice of the gaming industry? Like that's what we're usually like saying. It's like, the games I like to play, are they going to continue to make those? And I think that's a fair question. Netflix probably doesn't do as many blockbuster movies as you would have seen at the theater, but they also can take creative risks that we never saw before. And whether you like that more or not, or whether you used to like to collect DVDs or not, like that. So a lot of that's going to be personal preference. The honest answer in anything is every single paradigm shift that we've ever had in any industry, there's always winners and losers. It's not good for everybody. But at the end of the day, when people go, well, it's going to hurt the industry, and you go, well, okay, well, what is this hypothetical scenario? Well, if everybody goes on this service, then they're not going to want to, then they're not going to want to buy things. They're not going to want to put their money in the places they used to. It's like, okay, well then the consumers are speaking. So is that if maybe you are somebody who's like, I don't like where the general consumer wants to go, and I've heard this from people that used to collect DVDs and stuff. It's like they like their old school. They like to go into the Blockbuster. They like being able to they want to get the highest end, quality thing on disc rather than streaming it. And like this kind of model doesn't appeal to them. But at the end of the day, it ended up appealing to the vast majority of the market, and that's the reason we are where we are. So I think, yeah, go ahead.
I will say that streaming has gotten a lot better, especially with movies.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely, way better.
And especially with the resolution on a lot of these.
Oh, I agree.
It looks way better. It looks way better than what it used to. I mean, now it's really tough to tell the difference between an actual 4K Blu-ray disc and a 4K streamed movie. So, I mean, these things are just going to get better and better, and
absolutely,
people are just going to have to speak with their wallets and see where they want to go.
No, and that's the other great point, because the technology is going to continue to improve, and again, that's why they're all investing. It's not because of where streaming is today. It's where they see things going, and as the latency and the latency keeps going down, the bandwidths keep going up, and the data caps will start to release, in a lot of markets. You're going to see a lot of opportunity, and what subscriptions do, and this is again goes back to what I was saying with Netflix. If you look at that, if you look at what it actually did for the industry from a creative standpoint, it allowed a lot of creative people to take risks they never could have taken in the old model, where it was either like TV, it was either TV or movies, right? Like And and who knows, like maybe if Netflix was around 10 years ago, maybe if we had more options on regular TV rather than trash, we wouldn't have been watching The Apprentice, and we would have had a different last 5 years. But that's a different story. But I'm saying that there's going to be benefits with it, right? And all this, there's been some big studies out there actually regarding gaming and regarding subscriptions, and where they looked at other industries, they looked at where gaming's going, and what they find is that if subscriptions take off, which I think they will, it's not going to be a winner takes all. So like the person that's number one is not going to necessarily get the whole pie, because most people, once they get one subscription, actually more people are willing to get another one than just stick with that one. So it's actually in a weird way going to help Sony once they further establish PlayStation Now. It's going to help any other companies that kind of jump in on the back end. And that's why I think you're starting to see a lot of them prep for that. So like, I only mention that because I think there's a lot of fear. I think a lot of the Game Pass anxiety from people that don't play on it currently, they like that, for example, like Jay Barr has been perfectly happy with his PlayStation, doesn't need an Xbox. He likes his big, AAA games that come out every year, few of them from Sony, doesn't need that model to change for himself. And I think there's a lot of gamers in that bucket. And I think that the reason why you see people on Twitter fighting all the time is there's some anxiety from that side to say, I don't want you to take away this thing from me, because if you do that, I don't know what that model, what that's going to do to gaming. I would argue that if there ends up being more subscriptions and there ends up being a competition there, all that's going to do is change the lanes of the freeway. It doesn't change the demand for gaming, and it doesn't change the demand for content creators. And what it actually does is dilute a lot of risk. So like we just talked about AAA gaming 30 minutes ago, and you see that in that space, they cannot take big risks, because big risks that fail can put them, that can be a huge detriment to their bottom lines, to the investors, and they don't do that anymore. And we've seen that across the board. We've already seen that's already happened. And so actually, in some regards, more lanes, whether it's again free to play models, and there's stuff on mobile, there's stuff on now subscriptions, and you still have the physical. I mean, you still can go buy CDs, you still can go to the movies. There's people don't understand how big the industry is going. There's room for all these models. And
here's the thing I was going to say though. I think for Microsoft though, I think the subscription, what they're trying to do, and I'm not saying they're not going to make big AAA games. I think they will. But I really also think they're trying to tap into another audience. I think they've looked at and I know that there's that story out there, Optimus Codes talked about this a lot, where they really wanted to turn Xbox into Apple Arcade, because Apple Arcade was like the third biggest publisher at the time, just making a shitload of money. I think they want to, I think for Microsoft, and I could be wrong, I think they want to touch different points in the industry. I think it's outside of console gaming. So I could see a situation where Game Pass is kind of like they're presenting as kind of a one-stop shop, where they have games that play on, mobile devices, or maybe scale well on mobile devices. But games are going to, because look, one thing that Sean Layden kind of said was interesting, like the console gaming market per se really hasn't grown. What's grown is that they've been able to sell more microtransactions, DLC content. So they've gotten the pot to spend more money, but that base or that pot hasn't grown per se much, and that's what Sean Layden was talking about. So I can see a situation where Microsoft is, if that pot's not going to grow, they're going to have to target other demographic groups in gaming. Like mobile gamers are very much different than console gamers. PC gamers are a little bit different. We also know there's a lot of venture capitalists that are throwing a shit ton of money into the metaverse, which is something Facebook and Epic's really interested in. I wouldn't be surprised if Take-Two heads that route with Grand Theft Auto. I think those three companies have the platforms to do that with Fortnite, Epic with Fortnite. I forget what Facebook has. And then Take-Two with Grand Theft Auto. And those are going to be situations where companies can, if you've seen the movie, I forget what it's called, Ready Set Player One or Ready Player One.
Ready Player One.
Yeah, I mean that's what they want to do. They want to put us in this metaverse and sell you shit in the metaverse, right? To make a lot of money.
Yeah.
But but I will say this though, the interesting thing about Netflix, and I understand the comparison. I think it's a great comparison, but and perhaps the CEO of Take-Two, maybe he has his own motivations for saying this. But I thought he brought up an interesting point where he didn't think that comparing Netflix, Game Pass, and Netflix was maybe an apples to apples comparison per se. He really believes that streaming services or subscription services are great for like for older titles per se, right? And hold on just a sec here, guys. I just had this fucking article up and I lost it. I think someone else is going to chime in. So if you guys want to chime in, I got to find this other article because.
Well, I actually do. I actually would like to talk because so that was the CEO or one of the top guys at Take-Two, right? Was it that said that?
Yeah, it was the CEO of Take-Two. Yeah. So let me see what he said here. He says the business. Okay, so this is what he said. He said the business model doesn't make sense for what he referred to as frontline titles. He said that with regarding the reference to deferring natures of TV, films, and games in a streaming environment, suggesting that subscription models don't make sense for video game players who will often focus most of their time on a small selection of titles. So he's basically saying that when you look at like consumption of Netflix, and I'm paraphrasing some of the stuff he said here, you're looking at the consumption of Netflix versus gaming. Gaming's a little more evolved. Again, I'm just paraphrasing what he said, but to kind of summarize his point was, people are probably playing 2 or 3 games because of the time that's involved in playing those games versus Netflix, where you may be devoting maybe an hour to 30 minutes. Maybe you watch a movie here and there.
I don't know what they talking about. I literally just watched like 13, 14 hours of Netflix over the last 2-3 days.
Yeah, but that's not everyone though. Like my wife's not she watches Netflix every night.
I think it's not like that for a lot of people for different things,
But what his point is though, if you think about it though, and you think about like if you think about friends, I mean, let's think outside of our space here, right? Like I have friends that are hardcore gamers that have no interest in well, maybe they wouldn't be considered hardcore gamers in our circle, but they have like they can game. They have consoles, and I've had a couple friends I've tried to tell them about Game Pass. Like, yeah, no, I'm good. I only buy 3 or 4 games. Those are the games I primarily play. And I think that's what he's getting at, and that's probably the majority of the consumer base in the gaming industry. That casual. We talk about that 90% is casual, 10%, whatever the number, I forget the number is hardcore. And I think that's what he's referring to. And I think that's a fair suggestion to say that maybe subscription models in gaming are a little bit different than Netflix because of how those people are interacting. And he even did say, he goes, interactive entertainment is different than TV entertainment. There's a little more involved, a little more time commitment to interactive video games. And that's why they see people maybe often playing maybe 3 or 4 or 5 different games. And I think that's a fair point. Again, that's not to say that I'm not trying to say that Game Pass is not going to work. I think Game Pass is going to work. And I think to OBM's point, it's going to be in addition to what we have in gaming right now. Like gaming is bigger than console gaming. It's everywhere now.
Yeah,
PC,
it's a lot bigger.
like if you look at mobile, like mobile dwarfs console gaming in terms of revenue. And the other day, you got to remember.
And those people don't even know what Game Pass is.
Well, that's what they trying to do. I think ultimately, like you said, you would be a fool to think that the majority of the people would actually subscribe to the subscription service and stuff, because especially in gaming, because a lot of people do just play 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 games a whole year, and that's kind of pushing it. But the thing I think that Xbox is trying to do with Game Pass is they're just trying to give an avenue for people to have an option if they do, and then if that option, and that's the thing, if the option does pick up and people start noticing it in the mainstream casual spaces, that's when you start seeing Netflix style numbers and people jumping into stuff like that. I don't think when people say it's compared compared to Netflix. I think it's just compared to Netflix and just the way that they're going about the business model. But it's inherently different when you're watching movies versus playing games, because a movie or a TV show has a beginning and an end, and a lot of these games have very branching parts to it where you either are coming back daily or weekly, or you're investing 60 to 70 hours into a game depending on which one it is. So that's kind of what the difference is. But I also think if you can get games like those service-based games, like, you know, those Maddens and those NBAs, and we know things like Call of Duty are going to jump up in there. If you get stuff like that in there, then you'll see those numbers, because those are the games that people are used to like continually playing all the time, versus right now those games people just go out to the store and buy because they know that's the only way they can play it. Those are the only games they care about, and those games aren't available in a service like this, at least not right away. And then you won't, you know, it's no benefit to those people right now. So you'll inherently just see a different ideology when it comes to that. But I just think Microsoft wants to see what's going to happen, and guess what? And if it doesn't work, they'll stop doing it. You know, we know Microsoft isn't afraid to just stop doing something, and if it doesn't work for them, they're going. And people might be upset, but I'm telling you right now, if Game Pass does not work for them the way they want it to work, they won't continue to just keep feeding that beast of a money pit that it is right now, because they haven't even came out and said that it's profitable yet. I just think right now they're still biding the time to see exactly what profitability looks like for Game Pass, and if that's something that's super sustainable. But as of right now, that's kind of what they think is going to be, and I think it's going to work. It just comes down to, is it going to be enough time that passed to say it's going to work?
Yeah, real quick, gentlemen. I want to, because I found this quote by the Take-Two Interactive CEO Strauss Zelnick. It ties into Netflix. So this is what I was trying to explain regarding consumption patterns. He says that consumers who are involved with interactive entertainment have different consumption patterns than those involved with linear entertainment. Linear entertainment consumers consume something like 150 hours of programming a month. Sounds like Q4, a week, within a week. That's probably well over 100 different titles. He goes, in the case of interactive entertainment, consumers are consuming something like 45 hours a month, and that may be 1, 2, 3, or 4 titles, but it's certainly not 100 titles. So from a consumer point of view, it's not clear that a subscription model really makes sense for bulk of consumers, he said. So that's where he's coming from with his, I guess, attitudes. Regarding a subscription service. Now, he does also say that, all this remains to be seen, too. He's like, we're going to be open-minded. But, again, they're not putting their games, day and date in a service like Game Pass. And to your point, Forte, I think if you really want to capture those casuals in Game Pass or the people that he's talking about, and some of us have friends like that play 3 or 4 games, some of these are these big titles. We already know Call of Duty is going to be the best-selling game of 2021. Right, just look at the previous NPD charts, right? For the last couple of years, that game's. We know that when NBA 2K22 drops, it's going to make a shit ton of money, right? We know that.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. It's. Go ahead. Go ahead, OBM.
Yeah, no, I did want to actually address something that because I actually think you guys made some really, really good points, and even what Strauss is said is tying into kind of what I was pointing out earlier. And first of all, to your point, Enrique, you're right. Like, they need a diversity, and that includes beyond just console gaming. That's going to include some mobile stuff. Like, don't be shocked if they end up buying some mobile developers or some big stuff on that end, because they're going to need to hit all the boxes, right? But that doesn't exclude, and that's kind of like the part that gets, sometimes it's like people think about this stuff like it exists in a vacuum, like or that it's like some fixed pie. And really it isn't, because those investments are to expand to those other types of customers, but you're still going to need the big tentpole stuff to appeal to still a rather large console and PC market. So that doesn't take away from that. It's an additive. They're going to have to continue to expand, continue to get things in different areas. But the one thing I want to say about what Strauss is saying, he's correct on all those points about where that exists, but you also have to factor the context of where he's coming from. And it's like, I remember like back in the day when Amazon was brand new. I remember my dad telling me like all these online stores are going to fail, and here's why: because people like to go to the store, they like the social aspect, they want to see it, they want to touch it before they buy stuff. That could work for books, but it's not going to work for all this other stuff. And what we've seen is those other stores for the most part still exist, although we've seen some go out of business because Amazon's taken a lot of that pie. But what ends up happening is a lot of times the convenience and accessibility does, when you shift the paradigm, it does also shift a lot of customers' habits. And so like one of the stats that Sarah Bond gave out like last week, I believe, when she talked about Game Pass, she's like said the subscribers spend 20% more time playing games, 30% more games, 40% more genres. So what you kind of see what's happening is real
quick, OBM. So you mentioned those stats. Yeah. So is it 20% more of people on Xbox, 20% more on compared to other consoles, 20% more than other platforms? Like what are they benchmarking?
Compared to the other gamers. That's all you can
but what other gamers though? Like gamers on other consoles, gamers on mobile, gamers on PC, gamers only on Xbox?
Obviously that would have to be there because that's who they have the data on, right? Like, so they have the data on the Xbox customers, and the ones that they have in Game Pass do play, do expand.
But that's my point. Like, are they just referring to Xbox customers?
Yes.
Or okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So they're not talking about because I think when people hear consumers, they're thinking like just the general gaming consumer, maybe not tied to one specific platform.
No, and that would be like disingenuous to assume that but I guess what I'm saying, you go back to like the Netflix thing, and where people like would rent a movie from Blockbuster once a week. Like me and my family would go, we'd pick my siblings, we'd pick out a movie and go home and watch it for the weekend. Now families can like watch whatever they want, whenever they want. And so it does kind of change. It does change the paradigm. And like I said earlier, this is not everybody win. Like, it's not good for everybody. And so like, it's disingenuous to go, hey, this is going to be a winner for everybody. For some developers, anytime, like any industry, you can go through history. Anytime an industry changes, even if it grows, even though the gaming industry grew the last 10 years, we saw a lot of companies go out of business or get consolidated. No change is good for everybody, but at the end of the day, what really matters is what's the consumers are driving, and are they getting the content they want? And that's kind of what I go back to. So like when people are arguing, well, did they get a good deal here from Square, or did this Square deal somehow not pay off? At the end of the day, a $2 trillion corporation and a $10 billion publisher, and how that money trickled down to a developer who's going to be worth a couple $100 million when they go public. Those business deals, some of them are not going to work out, and then they're going to have to renegotiate. And as it gets bigger, they'll renegotiate. All that really consumers should worry about is, how does this affect me? Is this diluting my experience? Is this diluting the opportunity for developers? Are they in more demand or less? And right now, we don't see any signs that, from a consumer standpoint, that is hurting us. And that's what I go back to, right? It's like, how does a missed business, even if it was a bad business deal, does that really matter? If we're getting what we want?
Yeah, that's a great point, OBM. But I do think, though, like I get what you're saying. I think that's a great point. But I also think that it's okay for people, I think, to also have those conversations about, like I think what Jay Barry mentioned earlier, like, hey, like, how, like, if this deal in fact was like Square Enix not doing right by a publisher, and again, we don't know that. Again, they're just, but because there was some concerns. I've heard this from developers that they would worry that the publishers might have too much negotiating power per se about a game going to a streaming service, and so and how that would affect them. So if that's the case here, like, and again, we're not saying that happened, but if that was the case here, where maybe there was a situation where, and who knows, again, I'm not saying we know this for sure. I want to make that clear, because somebody will be like, oh, he said that, that they got screwed. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if they didn't have any say in the negotiation of this and how the royalties were supposed to be divvied out, and if it was only based on physical digital copies sold, and then
Mhm.
Square Enix, took the bag and then didn't give any of that back to the developer because they had this decision in place of, oh, you know what? You guys will only get physical, digital. Oh, and by the way, we're going to put this in Game Pass. And it almost seems like, Wojciechowski's kind of saying, well, again, he doesn't know if that's the case, but he's thinking maybe that is the case. And if it is, that's not good for developers. And again, we're not saying
Right.
that that's, and that could certainly have a negative ripple effect impact in the industry. If that was to happen on a regular basis, right? Again,
Go ahead, Jake. Let me ask y'all this, because I feel like we're just beating around the bush of the topic, Game Pass. Okay, we're trying to sneak our way by, like, oh, we don't see the Game Pass, the G and the P over there. We see it. We're talking about the GP, the Game Pass. What is the reason why he's alluding he didn't get any royalties from the publisher? Game sales.
Well,
but
he said,
but Square Enix actually came out and said that was they said that game was performing like their next major franchise. So they even said that the game was doing well, like a month after it released.
No, that wasn't sales. That was engagement.
That was engagement. Yeah.
They never said exactly, but if your publisher comes out and they didn't say numbers or anything, they just said the game is performing well to what the thing. What did they say?
The first month they said it had 3.5 million unique players that dived into.
Oh yeah, dived into Outriders. And they sold. And what was the number? And what did they say it sold? How much did it sell? Like 3 point something.
This is a quote that the guy said. As far as he's assuming here on why he's not getting paid any royalties, why the game didn't hit, assuming why the game didn't turn profit. He said, we don't have any sale figures for Outriders. We estimate sales to be between 2 to 3 million copies, and we assume that this result would make the project profitable already in the first quarter of sales. The lack of payment from the publisher probably means that in Square Enix opinion, this is not the case after all. Sales is what they're alluding to with everything. Everybody keeps saying that they don't know this, we are reading the man's quote. He's talking about the sales. Yes, he's assuming what it is, and he's trying to figure out, like, okay, maybe we think that we hit this, but maybe that's not the case.
Well, that's what I was saying, Barry. That's what we don't know. We don't know the actual amounts, and they don't know. That's the part that's interesting.
Yeah,
it's
like I understand that, but going back to the Game Pass, when I ask everybody if whoever played this game through Game Pass, did you buy the game? According to Xbox and representatives, everybody's buying more games toward the Game Pass, but nobody in here has bought the game.
I didn't buy it. I didn't buy that game.
Never plan on buying it.
I didn't buy it.
I bought the game I bought the game on PC, even though I had Game Pass. I bought on PC.
I bought on PS5. So
I wanted the best experience, so I got it on PC. So
at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that I'm not saying Game Pass is entirely at fault here, but I'm saying it is a factor.
It could be, absolutely.
Game got into the service day one. Of course, people's not going to pay the $60 or whatever it is to play it. They're going to pay the game plan.
Barry, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I think obviously there's some lost sales here. I know people that lost sales, not just from people not buying the game that played on Xbox, but lost sales on other platforms too. I know people that were going to buy it on PC. They went to Xbox Game Pass. And didn't buy the game, right? They just got it through Game Pass, and then I don't know if they bought it.
I should have got it through Game Pass.
Yeah, I know some people that played it through Game Pass, and they never bought it. I know some people that played it for Game Pass and did buy it. So I think it's a fair point, Bar. I think you're right. I think we could probably assume that there's probably some impact here from that too as well.
Well, there's one thing you guys are when you talk about that you have to factor in though, because like think about Marvel Avengers that didn't hit any service day one. They had a big license and it was a complete bomb. So like a lot of times like correlating something that's a disappointment with launching in here or there, you have to factor in things like where.
But we're also not saying that Game Pass is the only reason why it didn't perform.
No. And I know you guys were. But I just but when and just to be like again transparent about it, I'm speaking to like the general conversation that I see on Twitter, and I shouldn't because the stuff on Twitter is make you brain dead if you keep reading too much of it. But but the thing is, a lot of that stuff doesn't exist in a vacuum because if you think about like where these the importance of advertising and word of mouth and mind share, like that game they were showing some of the trending on it before its announcement going into the service. It was like a dead game. It had no engagement, wasn't resonating. So a lot of the attention it got was because it did go in there. Now, did that necessarily did that necessarily work out for it? I mean, I don't have the numbers, so I'm not going to make a conclusion on that. That's, would be kind of disingenuous. But what I'm saying is that none of these things kind of exist all by themselves because when they start talking about, like when we've heard Sarah talk about like how these things work, it's because it does pop the mind share. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people buy it. Now, long term, is that going to continue to hold up as if more people end up having the service? Maybe not. Maybe those people that are buying it today will just get on the subscription and stop buying it. And then it will have a reverse effect. Then these deals then Microsoft will have to drop bigger bags to get people in. And that's exactly what you see with Netflix. Like it costs, that the money they spend, the bigger that service gets, the more they have to spend every year to get, to keep up with the content. So those contracts can end up looking different. And, Enrique, you're right. Like if this could have been one of those Scarlett Johansson situations. Like for those that don't know, she's suing Disney because, she was going to get paid based on people going to the movies. They put it on a subscription. So she didn't get money for that. So she's going, you cost me the moviegoers. So I want to
bring that up at one
point
about that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a fair but going forward, so you're going to see some of these types of things. And like I said, it's not going to work out for everybody, but then you're also going to see a lot of these deals change over time. Just like now Sony's now negotiating deals with, hey, if we're going to advertise for you, if we're going to be your marketing deals, you can't go into Game Pass, like they're doing that now. So you're going to see some of the contracts change to adjust to this as well. So I guess until it becomes a trend that doesn't have a solution, I only am focused on, is it good for the consumers? Is there money going to developers in some way? Because at the end of the day, that's what really matters. It doesn't matter how it's going as much as it matters that there's money being thrown into the game development pool. And as consumers, we are getting the values that we hope to get. When that trend starts to get worse, then I think we can all kind of scream about it and stop and say, what is causing this issue? But at this point, I don't see any evidence that proves that's happening.
Yeah, let me grab some super chats here, gentlemen, before we wrap up the show. Because I think I'm behind here. I got NeoWise with the $5 Canadian. Thank you for that, NeoWise. His entry to watching a movie and playing games is not comparable. It's bad when people try to equate Netflix to Game Pass. It will never reach Netflix subs. Then we have our good buddy, the elder statesman of the Pegasus Nation, who is rubbing ointment on his knees right now.
Lord.
Optimus Code with a $5 super chat says, tell OBM to stop gatekeeping what gamers can be concerned about. It's all love, bro. That's pretty funny.
Optimus, you're not my dad.
Yeah.
You can't tell me what to do.
Hey, he's old enough to be your dad.
I know,
your granddad. Or your granddad. But no, I do.
Great granddad.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, but no, I do want to go ahead. I do need to wrap up. It's so get close to 11:30. And I do want to give the last word to our special guest and the man who brings that fragrance, Jay Bari. Jay, I'll give you the last word on this subject, man, before we wrap up.
The best way to support these developers, to support your hobby that you love, to support gaming, is to buy your goddamn games. End of story. You can support these services, you can do all that stuff. But it's like music for me, or even movies. You know what I mean? Yeah, these shows coming to Netflix and all that stuff. But if I really like a movie, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy that movie. If I really like an artist, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy that album. If I really love a game, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy that game. Support your games. If you like gaming, if you are enthusiast in this hobby, not somebody that's trying to wiggle their way in. Oh, I can just bite size and try a game. If you're an enthusiast, a person that loves this hobby, buy your goddamn games. End the story.
Hey, Barry, real quick. I will say this. Speaking of buying games, the one benefit that Game Pass has had for me, it's freed up more of my money to buy games on PlayStation. True story. I'm buying more stuff now on PlayStation because I'm like, oh, I don't have to buy it on Xbox. So, anyhow, but no, Jay Barry, thank you for those last words, man. Or that final, the final take, if you will. Optimus Code says, "Preach, Jay Barry." I'm surprised Optimus is up this late. He's usually drinking his Ensure and getting ready for his.
This is way past his bedtime.
Code, you better go to sleep, man.
That's my Pegasus brother right there. You know what
The
I mean?
Pegasus.
They call him Unk. That's what they call him, Unk.
They should not be calling him Unk. They should be calling him.
Bedtime. He's about to have breakfast in like 2 hours. So
he's got a Depends changing coming up soon. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Dark really liked that.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
Dark's
That
got a
was a
great
good
sense of
one.
humor, man. But
I love
hey,
that one.
hey, Jay
Just 'cause he
Barry.
laughs at your jokes doesn't mean he's got a great sense of humor. But anyways,
Yeah.
keep going.
No, but hey, Jay Barry, man, I want to
laugh at
say,
your
sir, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show, man.
Absolutely.
Big fan of your channel, what you and Persona are doing with What's Up PlayStation. It's a great show, man. Great show. Everyone needs to check it out. But man, always a pleasure. The fragrance is great. This Friday, the fragrance will be even greater.
Yes, sir.
And let me know where they can find you, man.
Yeah, this week alone for me has been overwhelming with like stuff because there's so much updates to games that I enjoy that have been coming out, and I just can't keep up, man. Then Friday hits with the banger at the end. So, but nah, man, you can reach me at Jay Barry on Twitter or Jay Barry on YouTube. Don't follow me on Twitter if you're sensitive. But definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel, man. We do a lot. A lot of people get this misconception with my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is a gaming channel before anything. Yeah, I have podcasts and all that stuff, but there's a lot of game play and game aspects that I talk about on my YouTube channel. But yeah, man, find me there. Hit the like button. Support my man BRAP. It's your boy. I'm gone.
Thank you again, Jay Barry. Appreciate it, man. And we got Dark Optimus live from Hollywood, California. Orale! Hey, it's always a pleasure to have you on, man. I tell you, what, man. It's funny, man. I was telling Mooch the other day, I'm like, Mooch, if I ever had to California hang out with Dark Optimus, it's going to be like the movie The Hangover.
yeah, but I'm not going to be the one who's going to root. So.
Dark, man, always a pleasure,
you're
man.
Sober when you're going through all that shit.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
But yeah, man, you guys can find me on Twitter, Dark Optimus. You can also find me on Xbox and PlayStation at the same name. And as always, man, you guys can find me on the next podcast at 8 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And yeah, man, always a pleasure to be on this podcast, man. You do some great stuff over here on BRAP, and I always tune in, even though I don't say anything in the comments. I always tune in, so yeah, man, keep it up.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. You know what? I apparently I missed a super chat, and I apologize to X Abbott. I'm so sorry for that, X Abbott. It wasn't on purpose. We're just having great conversation, and I just missed it. So my apologies. I really appreciate the support. X Abbott, the $10 super chat says, "Look how much Epic paid for those free games. Not all games got the same deal. It's all about the contracts. If People Can Fly made a bad deal with Square, they could be screwed regardless of sales." Thank you for that super chat, X Abbott. I really appreciate it. And again, sorry I missed it. And on that note, we got OBM, One Bad Mother, who does work for Xbox Era and writes for them and does a podcast. Was it every Saturday you guys do? I forget now, man. So many podcasts I follow.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff out there. But yeah, thanks. First of all, thanks for having me on again. And just want to kind of speak to the panel. It's actually, one of the things that we talked about, Enrique. In these gaming communities. One of the things that I that really does sometimes actually like really does bother me to see is how people kind of think about each other just because of difference in gaming opinions, and it's just silly. I did mention even there's a lot of guys here that we have different viewpoints, but like Jay Barry, I always find you to be like a really great guy to talk to. And Dark, I know I saw you on the group chat, just we were on a chat, Xbox Live chat just last weekend. So
I cannot confirm these allegations. Okay,
yeah,
sir.
But anyway, so yeah, he was betraying his ponies. But just kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, we gave him shit for showing up. It was like, what the hell are you doing here? I thought you were only PlayStation.
Yeah,
so
wrong
yeah,
platform.
Call it. Oh wait, was I supposed to keep that a secret? Was that an insider?
Yeah,
no,
man. What
but
the hell's wrong with you? Shit, man.
But no, I mean,
lose my street cred. Thanks.
Right. No, but it's cool that it's nice to be able to just sit there and talk to people and have differences of perspectives and try to hear where people are coming from. And sometimes you can learn stuff from that too, right? Like even if it doesn't change your mind, you can at least understand why people feel the way they do, and that alone is relevant information to and so again, appreciate it. Like and of course Forte, my neighbor here, so I'll have to come over and see how you're cutting your grass here soon. But but yeah, if you guys want to find me, I do, in addition to my data and analytics day job, I do I'm a senior editor over at Xbox Era. I occasionally show up on some of their podcasts. They have a weekly one. John and Nick do every week. I do also host the Halo podcast, which we do approximately bi-weekly. Sometimes it's not exactly. We try to time it with some information. And so if you're a Halo fan, come and look for You Had Me at Halo. But yeah, I really enjoyed the conversations today, and thanks for having me on again.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Optimus Code, man. Have to find out super chat. Oh man, Code. He says OBM won't admit he knows me in front of his Xbox friends.
Oh, so you outed me. No, I told Code I will only talk to him in DMs, not on Twitter. It's that what goes on there. I don't I don't always approve, Optimus, of the shenanigans on Twitter. But what people don't really know is behind the scenes. Well, I don't know if I should ruin Optimus's street cred either. Behind the scenes, Optimus is actually a really nice guy who's very thoughtful in his opinions. I think he likes to push buttons. But anyways, that for everybody who stayed, there's some inside information about him.
Yeah. Also behind the scenes, he drools a lot on
yeah, he does. Between the drool and the and chanting, he changes
so many filters on his videos. On Twitter, when he got so many
one for the
filters
money,
on his videos.
two for the show.
Well, yeah, he's drooling when he's saying that, Jay Barry.
That's my Royal Pegasus Nation brother, man. Y'all better fall back.
Hey, you guys need to
Thanks,
kick him
sir.
out. Isn't there an age limit to the Pegasus Nation?
Oh, there's never an age limit, man. As long as you can inhale the fragrance of PlayStation, you are good to go.
My man, he's on an inhaler. How much can he? Let me stop. All right. Anyhow, on that note, we got my man, the one and only Gaming Forte, Fairway Forte, as we call him. Forte, man, always a pleasure, man.
Yeah, man, it's great shit. Like I said, I wish I was here earlier today because y'all were really fooling. But it's good to be here, Jay Barry. Always a pleasure to be up in here with you. One bad. I'm about to call you Optimus because Optimus is here talking a bunch of shit. Call you Optimus, bro. But yeah, Optimus, man, great seeing you here, man. But yeah, man, like Barry said, man, just play your games, man. That's the one thing that I will always be an advocate of. We talk mess on here all the time, but at the end, we're gamers, and games are the only things that should truly matter, even if your opinion is different from somebody else's. So, Gaming Forte everywhere: YouTube, Twitter, Xbox Live, PlayStation. DPS podcast will be tomorrow night on my channel with the homeboy Slomo Backslash. So come check that out. And you guys enjoy the rest of your week.
Awesome, man. Thank you for that. I want to give a big shout out to Slow-Mo Backslap, Eric Jackson, and B Money. They couldn't make it tonight, but big shout out to those gentlemen. And I agree with Optimus Code. Greatness is internal. It really is. So on that note, we're out. Everyone have a great rest of the week. Remember, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut releases this Friday. If you haven't played Hades, definitely need to try it out. And on that note, we're out. Again, everyone have a great, safe rest of the week. May do a BRAP rant this weekend. I'm not sure what day I'm going to do it, but keep an eye out. You can give me a follow on the Twitters at BRAP_podcast. Please hit the like button. If you're new, subscribe and hit the bell notification so you are alerted when we go live.